It's been absolutely epic.
Yeah.
We turned our day around like crazy.
Let's go.
And to these guys talking about UFC and everything like that, I wanted to ask you, how much money would you have to get paid to actually step in the ring and get the, you know what, kicked out of you, knowing the fact that the damage concussions does to people? Like, I can't even watch UFC anymore because knowing that these guys and girls are sacrificing, and it's great, like, respect to them. I think it's the training and the talent that's involved there. But I'm just wondering, like, we had Brett Favre on last week. He talked about concussions and how it's basically ruined, you know. And now the only way that you can get out of the octagon is by being beat up so badly that you yourself can't even tap out.
Yeah.
Or you do tap out because you think you're about to, like, your pain tolerance is just too much there. No. So I'm just wondering, like, boxing is one thing, getting punched in the head with gloves on, you know.
I mean, even then.
Right.
Boxers
like,
still, like, suffer from...
You just look at Muhammad Ali, you look at some of these guys, and I just think that, like, once you have kids, your opinion on, like, how good the UFC is and all that stuff, I think, dramatically changes. Because I used to watch it all the time. Right. And now I think to myself, imagine your kid came home to you and goes like, oh, Dad, you know what? I really want to get involved and I want to start learning MMA.
Yeah.
I think it's great to learn. It's a great training tool.
Yes. No,
but as far as like, hey, man, I'm really proud to see like my kid get into the ring there and get so beat up that, or whatever, you know, because no matter how good you are, eventually you're going to take one of those shots.
Yeah.
And it's just like listening to Brett Favre and all that, like, it's amazing that this stuff maybe isn't a little bit more regulated, but I don't know what the answer is to all of that anyways. Could you test my earpiece, Andre, when you get a second?
I definitely agree with you there, Sean.
No, I don't hear it. Okay.
I mean, you couldn't pay me enough to, if you guaranteed some sort of damage, then yeah, you couldn't pay me enough for me to get into the ring. But in terms of like
you're going to get concussions, right?
In terms of for like competition, and when I used to do Muay Thai for many years. Right. And it's like, okay, yeah, training is beautiful. You get the discipline. You have the physical. You gain the physical aptitude, and you're able to defend yourself, right? You're able to defend yourself in a realistic situation.
I mean, both my kids went, while two of the three did karate. Yeah. You know, and part of that, right? It's learning about breathing, the muscles, and
there's a lot that goes into it.
There's a lot there, and there's a lot of technique in it, but I don't know.
You couldn't pay me enough if you guaranteed me some sort of damage if I stepped into the ring, but...
Well, I guarantee you damage.
Yeah, I wouldn't...
Every time
that's okay, you couldn't pay me enough.
Yeah, because we even heard from Brett there, right? He was like, anytime he got hit in the head, he saw like a little spark go off. Yeah. Apparently, that was like a little mini concussion type of thing, right? And so you just don't know the damage. That's why it's so important to keep on trucking. But all right, yeah. So we still have Neil. So now we have Neil and Obi on the bottom. So which one do you want to be? You be the Obi.
I'll be Obi.
I'll be the Neil.
I'm good with Obi.
Okay, so
yeah, I know. You know what this conversation.
Oh, Neil went home. He said his heart rate was. A little flux.
He was feeling a little... Yeah.
He was feeling some kind of ways, so he wanted to get home there, rest up. Yeah. I imagine he'll be okay, but if not, obviously, there obviously is something going around. Yeah. So good luck to you, my friend.
I mean, we'll see. My immune system's gone through some stuff, but yeah, more than willing to... I mean, you know, this, that, and the other. But no, a lot of different things. But no, this kind of reminds me of what we're talking about about fighting and like knowing how to defend yourself. It's like I forget who this quote comes from, but you don't want to be a gardener in a war, but you want to be a warrior. You'd rather be a warrior in a garden. Right, in Madison Square Gardens. Either one. Yeah. I don't know. So something like that. Like I feel like it's good to have the ability to be able to defend yourself. Oh, and 100%. have the discipline and the. Well, it's about getting into the octagon and not leaving until you can't. That's how it works. Yeah. If you're trapped. No. We're just talking about like the Colosseum. Right. If you're in that scenario, yeah, I mean that's what I'm saying. It's in the culture too, right? But at some point there. Yes, Obi is in today for Neil for the rest of the day, and then tonight you'll have Adara and Sharif. Big earnings. I mean, this week, all throughout the week. I'm gonna show up actually with Adara's
earnings position board later on, which has done a great job as that continues to go. So continue to support the show, continue to support all of that. We will want to thank everybody for all of that as well. So, okay, look, man, it's Sharif's world and we're all living in it. So pretty soon we're going to get to that rundown. So you let me know, Andre, when it's there. And then we'll, as the show goes on, we'll discuss our positions and what we've taken and so on and so forth. So right now I'm long Intel and long Nvidia. That's part of the story of why this smile is on this face right now.
Yeah, no, I'm just. I mean, I took a dabble in Nike earlier this morning. Didn't really work out the way I was looking for, so pretty much break even on it. So I'm just looking for the next opportunity. I was telling Sean, I was like, yeah, some days you have good ideas and maybe you don't follow the plan, maybe you don't, you just got to step away from the desk. And this is something I'm actively trying to get better at. It's like, yeah, controlling days where you might be a little tilted and having, like, I'm trying to build that discipline to be like, okay, push away from your desk, walk away. Like, don't turn this day into something that it's really not worth. You know what I mean?
Yeah. We're here to take advantage of opportunities that we see. So, all right, let's go to Sharif and see the rundown.
Hit it.
Welcome, everyone, to the Afternoon Rundown, the show where you decide what we talk about every afternoon. Obi in for Neil and not feeling that well. But the boys are locked and loaded, and they're ready to look at the tickers as decided by you. But join Joe and I during the midday on the How to Trade show, and that's the way to get your tickers on there is by getting into the chat and voting for your favorite tickers. We'll cover them for you on here. But you got to be a sub in order to communicate with us in the chat. So make sure you're liking, subscribing, and then hopefully sharing the stream. Here's a look at the triple Qs right now. The NASDAQ, the only one of the four major averages in negative territory, down 0.25%, close to 0.25%. The ES kind of the exact opposite, up above that 0.25% mark. The Dow, the best of the bunch, up 2/3, and the Russell 2000 also up 0.25%. That one got shellacked last week, so a much needed recovery there. Nvidia kind of flat on the day, definitely down 0.5% here, a little bit less than that. This one does report on Wednesday after market, so expecting some consolidation until that time. Dan Ives, though, absolutely says he expects a clear beat and raise special as AI demand surges. He says Rosenblatt maintaining their buy today on Nvidia and that same $220 price target. No change there, boys. Nvidia down 0.48.
Oh boy. Okay. Just real quick here. I want to find out what's the next little level here. 133, 133.50. If we break below that, we'll probably get rid of the rest of this trade. Okay. So, what's really turned this guy's day around, quite honestly, was just getting back focused again and trying to figure out what exactly we were doing. And we did that and we found that out and now we're sort of reaping a little bit of benefit from there. We put on our biggest trade of the day right down here. And look, proud of it, yes. It's the biggest. This is the most amount of money I've made on one single trade this month. And it was just, I was getting a little, again, the word revenge trade is a little something, but I wasn't happy with what happened on Tesla. And again, this Nvidia, we were long. We did really well to get out. We wrote down 135.50 today, but it got absolutely shellacked with the rest of the market, as we know. This was a very, very interesting day to be sitting in front of longs early. So we gave it up, and I feel really responsible about not getting this back. Now, once we came back into 130, that was a great little bottom there. But then, all of a sudden, man, we were like watching, and I said to myself, if this market's going to go, I want a 50-period break here on Nvidia. All right, so with that being said, it breaks right there. So I took this is just after 11 o'clock, I took quite a big position right there. It came in, and I actually got stopped out of 75% of it right here at that bottom wick bottom, okay? But then all of a sudden, it started to almost on a dime when we punched out, and there was no volume there. This is the degen part, really. Not this part taking that long. I mean, I'm taking that all the time. But then all of a sudden, and maybe if I zoom back in just a little bit more here, it was, where was it? Yeah, it's that same candle right there. Within a couple seconds, I was like, wait a second. The volume popped on. There was something showed up on the bid. And I just said, forget about this, man. And then I just punched long pretty much, not as much as I could, but a big enough position there, Obi, and then it just ripped. And then once it started to go, we had enough shares that we started to climb out of this one, got some out at the 50 period, let this thing run up. And then honestly, man, I was just like, I'm putting these at VWAP and I'm setting it and forgetting it. And this was a monster trade. That's that 132. We got there 134, 134.50. More outs here at 135 as it looks to now break down a little bit. There's another out, taken out at the 200 period. Now we have like, it's such a small piece left. By the time we started cashing out up here, we had 10% left or so. So I'd say we have less than 5% left as we hold on to this Nvidia, but it was an absolute monster trade. I don't know if Intel's going to be on there, but we did something very, very similar on that one. So I went right back. We followed our rules. Now Nvidia is not going to be the biggest one up. We probably could have picked a better trade than this. But at the end of the day, it was savior. Like we were down a lot. Not a lot, but down enough. And we made it all back in spades. So that was Nvidia right now climbing to the top. And again, just believe in some of those trades and then watch your lines, right? Obi and I talk about it all, well, we all do. Just there's VWAP, you know, there's the 200 period. So this is a significant out for me. These were all just playing out 135, support and resistance. There it goes to the top side. You got to play properly. And if you do that and you know, you're flying with that seatbelt on, then these stop orders right here will save you. So Nvidia, big W there for me today. Pretty proud of it. Next area, I was going to say right about here to get out. But yeah, let's try a 133 breakdown because right now the futures, I don't know. I think they're okay. Nice battle back, only down 0.34, but that was a pretty savior trade for me right there on Nvidia. Proud to take it because it was a big one, but at the same time, yeah, I think it was also well traded.
No, I think that's pretty solid there, Sean. Absolutely beautiful reversion trade. You know, I love the reversion, and right there, Sean getting in on the break of that morning trend there for a reversion to VWAP, and it's been at VWAP right there. And yeah, futures on a bit of a curl here with that Nvidia pulling back in off of that VWAP there. But bigger picture, I kind of want to note here again, going into earnings. So I want to see how we're building up going into earnings, and something to note here is that post split. John, the high was like around 140.
Yep.
And then the lows around 91. We reclaimed that 100. We've been attempting to break that high being at 141 and some change. We got to 150s, but we're pretty much trading within that 2, 3, 4 month range since that split, pretty much kind of sideways there. Bigger picture, yes, we are still kind of uptrending, making higher lows and higher highs, but it's going to be interesting. The range is pretty wide, and it's been getting wider. You can see not as tight as some of the trend range that we had in 2024. And so, yeah, it's going to be interesting going into earnings here. But, yeah, we're closer to resistance than we are to support. That's what I'm kind of seeing on Nvidia today. But with earnings coming up, we could gap either way. We could not gap. I have no idea, but it's definitely going to be prove.
I mean, we could go up or we could go down.
Yeah, we could go up or we could go down. Who knows? Wow.
I'm glad I'm back to drop that science right there. Or there's another thing you could do also.
Sideways. Yeah. Boom.
Wow.
Let's go.
So you've been trained by some of the best around here.
You know.
Okay. Sharif, it's Tesla.
Yes, 3 different headlines today, Sean. So let's start with the top one over here. They're going to roll out a software update to Chinese EV owners of Tesla. They're going to basically deploy their long-awaited FSD full self-drive, which has not been available in China, looking to take on some competitors there, like stuff XPeng, BYD, all dropping their own FSD-like software. And then we also got word they're going to refresh their Model X, their Model S, 2 of the most expensive models that they had. Last time around, they got refreshed was 2021, so they are due. And then looks like they're beginning their hiring campaign for the Cybertruck. It looks as if they posted multiple jobs out there from engineering to otherwise, Randy, for the Cybercab. There's Randy. There he is. So looks like they're hiring for that, guys. Tesla down 0.3.
Oh, boy.
Oh, boy.
Pretty big move this morning.
Yeah, pretty huge move. And again, like, I always think that you can't just sit around here, make calls on some of these Mag 7, or this is for any stock in particular. and not have stop orders and not have areas of concern. It's funny that the two worst stocks for me today, we made it back with Nvidia, but they're number 1 and 2 on the board, which means, at least for me, that we're trading the right names in the right space where there's people looking at them and there's some volume and there's some catalyst, right? So we had that with Tesla today. You know, at one point it was great. And whenever that's the case, like whenever you're closing and then having a nice move to the upside, I'm always going to play a pullback to the 200 period moving average. And what a banger that was. We were long at 337, getting some out there at 341.42s. So it was, excuse me, $4 or $5. And we're like, we're back, baby. We love this stock. This is the greatest stock of all time. And then about 15 minutes later or so, 9:45, Tesla started to go, the carnival there came in. And then for me, I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to get really involved. So we got in and got out. So right there, we're still up on Tesla. Everything's all good because there's the nice move. We're getting out. It goes to the 50 period. And we have rules around here as well. When you're going, you know, from the 200 to the 50 and you're kind of trading like that, especially into some of these lows there, those are outs. So you got to cover there. Then when it came back in, there's, again, trying to probably play off some of these bottoms there. 335, 336, we lose that and we go out. Then we did pretty good until I thought 325. Remember we zoomed in and we saw that daily chart on Tesla, and it was right here where I was like, this 325, if we, no, not even there. Yeah, I guess it was there, 320. Anyways, I don't know. It wasn't, our charts weren't great. I used the E-signal chart for that. 325 it held. I think it went back to February the 11th or so. So I thought a 325 smack to the downside would have been there. It was not. So unfortunately, we got hit there about $2.50 or so as we hit that short. Then we waited, got it about a dollar better right there. Then again, then lost it. Then we tried to short again. Then we were building our short into where I thought there might have been something available. And unfortunately, Obi, we had enough shares to really make something happen. But at the end of the day, kind of like a rug pull there, we went all the way to the upside. We got stopped out at 332. And I was like, well, whatever. We got stopped out. Then I went back about 2 minutes later, almost threw up, because then it came all the way back down to the point where we didn't really need to take any hit. Like all of this loss in here is very similar to what we made up here. So this is fine. Like all of this down there is very similar to all of that. It's when we start averaging in here at 330 up to 332, I want to give it $2 to $3, right? We just didn't give it enough. And that's too bad. And then it came back in and then that happened. So for me, I kind of want to stay away from Tesla, to be honest with you. And part of the reason for that is just there's so much turmoil right now. It's on, obviously, we know what side of the bench this guy's on. And I just don't know, you know, focusing on Doge there. I mean, there's been a lot of pushback on Tesla. And again, whether or not people are being a little too dramatic over this, like I'm never buying a Tesla again because of this guy's, you know, political affiliations. I think a lot of that is a little silly for sure, but hey man, money talks and bullshit walks. And right now the money on Tesla is going the other way. So you tell me what that is right now on Tesla. So, you know, I don't throw no punches. Don't hit me in the head. Maybe I don't want to get concussed over here as well. But for right now, that is what it is on Tesla. I think it's going to be a great stock. I like it for the year. I really do. I just wonder if it needs to settle down a bit.
No, I think I definitely agree with you on the settling down. All of last week, if you guys were watching, I was talking about how 350 can be a little bit of an over-under, and we saw that 350 get tested multiple times prior week, and on Friday, along with the rest of the market, we broke below that, giving us a significant sell-off all the way down into the 330s. And coming in today, we got some good news, right? We had that, they were like, okay, FSD rollout in China, absolutely solid, goes from 333s all the way up to 347s, trying to get to that 50, right? So it's like, all right, so if 350 was my over-under, and we get some aggressive strength from below 350 into that level in pre-market with a catalyst, what happens off of the open? Well, I don't know what's going to happen, but you can clearly see that we sold off of that news, kind of giving us a bit of confirmation that 350 might be a little bit of an over-under if we can't really reclaim. And right off of the open, we can see that 350 it had supply this morning, right? Does it continue to have supply? I have no idea, but you can see that VWAP reclaim was nice. We're holding above VWAP right now, 335s, still trading within this opening kind of range, even though we sold off pretty crazily. So yeah, I'll be watching that 324-day low to see if we continue this bigger picture move. Again, going to a higher time frame, on the 3-hour chart, you can see that Tesla, again, we've been kind of in a downtrend right here, right? And I know when I put all my indicators on, everyone goes crazy with all the lines and the anchored VWAPs and everything that I have, but I guess a lot of them make sense to me. But the thing is, I'm not looking at all of them right now. The two things that I am looking at currently are the bolded lines. This is the anchored from the highs, and then this is the trend line that sold off from that anchored from the highs, right? So I was like, okay, those two things, we kind of, that's why I thought that 350 was a great over-under. We broke the trend at that 350. That was beautiful. We tried to sustain. Now we're getting a little bit lower. I have no idea what Tesla's going to do, but I think definitely calming down off of the highs is something that it has been doing. So where will it catch a base? I have no idea, but I think that, again, great opportunity if you're taking a close look at it on the day today. Throw it up in the chat. Have you guys traded Tesla today? Some solid trade opportunities on this one.
Yep.
Guys, Alibaba next. A tough day for Alibaba. I don't know if it's SSR on your side, guys, but it's awfully close, 9.89%. Most of these Chinese ADRs are in the red after we had a big red day on Friday, but they've been very strong lately. I'll show you the daily for Alibaba in a second. Separately, Morgan Stanley upgrading Alibaba today from hold to overweight and boosting that price target up to 180. As well, Alibaba letting us know today that they are not falling behind in that CapEx race for AI. They're investing $53 billion as they look to take on Stargate. But have a look over here at the daily chart on BABA. So we gave back obviously 10% today, but we were very, very close. Not close to all-time highs, but definitely at local highs with the last little print there.
Ooh. Yes. All right. Yeah, look, we wrote down here today FXI as a short. We had Michael Noss on. We talked about that a little bit. You know, it's just too far too fast. I mean, we saw JD, we saw a couple of these other names in the space get to the downside. I had sold Alibaba Thursday afternoon after the show, got around a 136 price, basically where it is right now. Yeah, so I feel like it's a huge move up right there. It's very sensitive to what happens to Nvidia as well, right? Because I mean, again, you always want to try to play checkers when others are playing chess and so on and so forth. And it's like, if Nvidia does miss, I wonder if they're getting a little bit ahead of this because, you know, we know that DeepSeek and some of the AI models, they're being built for a little bit less than loading into some of these H100s and whatnot for Alibaba, let alone Blackwell and some of these other models. So we'll just wait to see what that all means. I wonder if this is a little bit of an early profit on that. Sometimes you get sort of those huge moves up. We had gap. Now you're just filling it up. I don't want anyone to panic. You're just back in here to 125 again. But as we know, in the afternoon, sans any news from Donald or anything like that, they don't tend to move the greatest in the afternoon, but I do think that here, underneath the 200, underneath VWAP, if we can get anything up to 130, 150 or so, to me that's a sell on this name. So I think we'll wait for that. Or I already got burned once, huge shorting that, because if I don't short that Tesla bottom, I probably don't have the short in my mind. So maybe that's a little bit of a risk to wait to punch that short. We got basically taken to school on that when we did that on Tesla. I don't think we want to do it on Alibaba, but at the end of the day, this is going to be a tariff talk name. It's going to be an AI name. It's done really, really well. I feel like there's a lot of money that's come out over the last couple of days on Alibaba. So I'm joining the club here today and going to sit on it, wait to see if it bumps back up, get it into 130, 150, then that would be where I'd short it. Other than that, I'm not going to break the bottom, but I don't hate the way that looks, Obi, to be honest with you. So yeah, Alibaba in trouble today.
You mean for like the continuation down?
Yeah, I was going to say, because it's already SSR.
Like, to add to that, look at where it's holding the consolidation highs. Like, where is it holding resistance as of right now? Earnings day one. And we know that earnings day one had a lot of participants and also a lot of volume. And this consolidation holding underneath VWAP plus earnings day one low, that's definitely a little bit bearish to me as well. And yeah, a little bit of a puke coming in off of the open on a break of trend, but you gotta see where this thing has been coming from, right? So we've been on the curl. You can see that again. It's not just BABA; it's a lot of stocks in China. The Hang Seng has been trending up pretty nicely as well. But yeah, you can see we started off at a bit of a base in and around the 80s, and then breaking out of this bit of a downtrend, 90s, 100, consolidation leg, kind of a gap up continuation. And yeah, BABA has been pretty strong in that sense. And yeah, we get the first day where we get some strong selling. So I definitely want to take a look at the Hang Seng as well to see if that's reflected there. So yeah, still we can see that bit of an expanding trend here, and this aggressive selling expanding that trend range a little bit more as we get back below 23,000 here on the Hang Seng. So we couldn't necessarily hold above this prior high is what I'm seeing as of right now. Let's see if this strong selling leads into a trend break on the bigger picture on not just BABA, but a lot of the China tickers.
Before we go back to Sharif, pitch, yeah, thanks. I mean, again, more Chinese, that's why I was looking at FXI, like for those of, maybe. But anyways, I just had Pitchbull mention that VWAP maybe confirmation hold here on Tesla. So again, yes, I'm nervous about a name here. And we just did a video about leading. Well, I did a little bit of a talk there on chart setups and what our layouts look like and whatnot. Like watching out for the NASDAQ versus the stock is somewhat important. NASDAQ's still down, stock's still down. I do for a long, fine. For a cover of some shorts, fine. Is just be careful with this. Like the market's underneath here. We've seen it really bleed out. And it's just kind of like we're at that same level right here that I'd already sort of confirmed this level as an area that we wanted to look at anyways. So I think you're right looking at 334. If you are going to go long thinking that VWAP's going to hold it, I almost think you do have to give it to whatever this little bottom wick is right there, which is 331.85. So I think if you're going to try here, you are looking for almost a complete retracement back to the 50 period, which is 337. And I just don't know right now with the futures coming in a little bit, if that is going to be a trade that you're going to want to take, because futures lose this right now, then I think you lose maybe 100 points. So Tesla's not going to hold up. See, like if this market, you're underneath. So trading is not, like we said, believe me, I mean, nobody's the only man left back behind us. Trading is not for the weak at heart. There's so many different factors that hit trades every single day that if you're just basing it on one little thing like a VWAP, I just think you got to expand out. And great call there, Pitchbull. I do hope 334 is the hold. I don't know if you're long or short or just making that comment, but just watch out because I do feel like the NASDAQ's getting a little bit weaker. I do want to talk about Intel. I'll do that when SMCI comes through. Intel is my P&L number 2 today. It's a big one too. All right, let's go over to Sharif and let's go over another stock that I've never heard of. What does that say? Planet Fitness. Okay, what's up, Sharif?
Yeah. Been there.
Yeah, this would be Planet Fitness chart probably, if I had my say. I know, but Palantir, guys, loses $100. It's a bit of a tougher day, 9 3/4. But I mean, we were really at all-time highs extended there. So we continue to sell off after we got wind last week that Donald Trump wants his new Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth to find about 8% costs cutting per year from the Pentagon's defense budget there. It's going to be about $500 billion. We also got word that Alex Karp was taking the opportunity of these elevated levels to sell some of his stock. I think he's going to sell a little over $1 billion. And then the options market has taken notice of that as well. So on the left side, you have the call option activity. On the right side, you have the put option activity spiking recently, guys, as we got all into those all-time highs.
Oh boy, yeah, that 125 failure to follow through. I mean, Palantir's been continuing. Right. Honestly, this was a big miss for me today, Sean, because I messaged Wayne in the morning and I was like, my top 2 ideas are Nike continuation and Palantir continuation. And I didn't take either of those trades. I didn't follow the plan, but again, the plan definitely did work out. The short on Palantir, the continuation is definitely working out here. 100 was a bit of an over-under, and we cracked that in the pre-market today. You can see, again, strong selling from yesterday on a ticker that already sold off aggressively last Wednesday, and then aggressively again on Thursday off the opening drive. Sure, we recovered a decent part of it, but then coming into Friday, we give back a chunk of that as well. So coming in the morning, if we are consolidating below some of those lows, you can see what happens when that day 2 from that strong sell-off gets broken off of the opening price action, breaks that opening range low as well, and then get that continuation all the way from 95s all the way down into here. And honestly, like when I sat down at the desk here, I was looking at Palantir to take the continuation trade as of right now. I was like, all right, well, we've been kind of consolidating at VWAP, and if this cracks any sort of trend, the probability for coming a little bit lower, I think, becomes higher, and it definitely is showing us some of that as of right now. Will it get to low day? I have no idea, but a beautiful continuation on a ticker. Again, you got to take a look at the weekly to see how strong this has been, and a bit of a healthy, is it a healthy pullback? I have no idea, but a strong sell-off nonetheless. You can see the past week was one of the more aggressive red weeks that we've had on Palantir, selling off about almost 15% from Monday to Friday.
Yeah, big move that down there for Palantir over the last couple of days, and kind of be expected. I mean, we've seen this happen before. I mean, it went from $20 to $7. Like, it could lose a lot here as we do get more and more nervous, of course, every single day about government cuts and where the funding's coming for Palantir. Obi just did a great job there looking at it sort of from the longer standpoint of things. I'm just going to just keep it as simple as possible. Today's trade was real easy for me. We looked at that exact same level that Obi mentioned there at 95, right? So we were very, very patient. I sat there, bid 95. It actually came in right off the open, right away at 930. Then it was sirens up, man. You don't sit on winners when they come through like that immediately, especially when you actually have your default on. And again, we just got to call something lucky, I don't know, but we were able to get into this trade on Palantir because we looked at that 95 bottom. So when it filled out there, we already had to stop at 94.75. All of that was in when it was in. So we didn't have too much to worry about here. But at the same time, we tried to respect it again. And when it lost it, it lost it. So this is how I like to trade Palantir here moving forward. I think this is the smartest thing to do. Let it make its move, react, then react that way as well. So Neil picked up some bottoms down there at 90. We'll see if it can hold again down there. For me, it's looking short. We talked about that opinion that we had on Tesla, very, very similar. I still think this is a short in and around here, 93, 94. The market's going to be down today. This name's getting kicked for a bit. It needs some upgrade. There needs something to happen. There needs something to spark some interest again in PLTR. So I don't know what that's going to be. And huge downside move. Options sending it upside, options sending it downside. So wait for it. That's the 50-period moving average at 85. We had gotten out of some of our position there at 114. So we had talked about that earlier as well. That looks like that's going to play pretty good. So for right now, Palantir remains on the sidelines for me, looking for a short around 94.
All right, guys, SMCI last on the list here, down 5.25, but it had a strong week earlier in the week, and then it got a little consolidated with that sell-off coming aggressively on Friday. No real headline except this Goldman Sachs chiming in, maintaining neutral on SMCI and boosting that price target up from 32 into 36. But I'll submit to you guys, this one will be on watch Wednesday after the bell when Nvidia reports, heavily reliant on their products.
Yeah, this one's been a little wild here. Again, I think it's kind of similar to the move on Palantir. Obviously not as aggressive or a strong pullback, but again, we saw that strong selling coming in on some of these tickers here on prior Wednesday, and it's been selling off, making lower highs. A bit of a held offer here at what seems like 62 halves. So both Thursday and Friday kind of clipped that as a high and continue to make lower lows. Today we kind of broke some of those prior levels from Thursday and Friday. Wednesday, that low was already broken on Thursday, but kind of coming in a little aggressive. But take a look at that 50 bounce. That was pretty nice. Bit of a reversion to VWAP off that $50 level, and VWAP coming in at 53.60. So maybe this still has some more room to the downside. I have no idea, but sellers are clearly in charge for the past couple of days on this ticker, SMCI. I did borrow shares in the morning, Sean, to be honest, but it didn't really set up the way I was looking for, so I haven't used them yet.
You remember, I think it was probably relatively cheap.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
good. Yeah, okay, good. Good to hear. Oh, I just asked, sorry, yeah, no problem. Actually, hey, Ramin's turning a page here.
What's happening?
He's like, could you please repeat that because I accidentally had muted you. Normally, it's, right, we're blamed for things. But, no, I was just saying I was hoping it was relatively cheap, and you had said that.
They were,
so,
pretty much.
Yeah, so good call there. And I think, again, just staying with the names that were kind of tradable. Okay, you know what? I'll go over SMCI just real quickly here for you guys as well. So I didn't trade this today. I didn't pay for the shorts or anything like that. I didn't have it written down as something to look at, but I mean, I do understand it's always something to look at. We talk about different catalysts. It's just, it's these violent moves. And for right now, you want to play names that, when volume starts to spike. And I just into this level here. If anything, like were those really decent bottoms down there at 52 probably right now. I'm going to go over to a 5. So the biggest chart that I look at right here to try to figure out if I want to trade a stock is really just this 5-minute chart. And that'll tell me like where we are just going back a little bit. So, you know, like that $50, that's 51. That was obviously a good little level there to hold as well. And I guess, yeah, see, and this is what I mean. You could find levels when you're looking back. And if you were focused on SMCI right there today, I mean, you go right back and we talk about the 18th, 19th of last week where you were holding in and around this 52. You did wick down into there as well. You did wick. So yeah, some good support down here, low 50s for SMCI. So if you like the stock, you like the stock. But we talked about it with news pending. It's just one of those things where you wait. And you don't need to get in front of any prints or try to play a guessing game with a lot of stock, especially. I don't think Nvidia is going to be a huge reaction to a stock like SMCI, nor do I think SMCI is going to do anything to this market in general. But at the end of the day, great move to the upside. And again, if you were long down here on SMCI in the teens, then that's been absolutely fantastic. I mean, you had $18 down there for the bottom of SMCI. So well traded right there. And that does it for the rundown. All right. Another big stock, though, today. And I was going to almost talk about this before we went over to SMCI, but because SMCI was on there. And I think you and I probably trade the most Intel here. And I don't... Recently, for sure. I mean, yeah, I'm jumping. I know I trade more than Neil, and I think that you've been trading it more than recently. Yes. And the reason why I say that is I think it's important that we stay on the same stocks. It's like what you said about Nike today, and we're going to talk about the trades that you made over there as well. You already had that on your radar. Yep. So you have a trading plan, you have levels built, you have this and you have that. Well, for Intel, I immediately went back over here. So there's that spike that we got, and I want to talk about this for a couple different reasons. So I was trying to go long, remember, on Nvidia. That was a little after 11 o'clock. That was in and around this area for Nvidia. Okay? But we had seen this bottom come through for Intel. We know it has a nice move back up to the upside potential. And as soon as we cleared out through this 24, the 50 period is going to be a little bit lower, but this was also a break of the 50 period and news on some of their new AI chips. So once we had the break there, so we followed the 50 period all the way down, we broke it, and we had some levels here that we were interested in, including $24. So when that came in, man, it was all aboard. You guys saw me trade this live. I was buying more. We wanted more down here in the 80s. That didn't come through. I was going to play this as a bottom. And all of a sudden, right now, Intel P&L number 2, off of a very simple trade for me, all the way back up into pre-market highs. Again, trade the news there, look for a level, look for a reason. Intel really started to pop up there. So we hit it and literally quit it. Right now we have less than 1% left here on Intel. I like the trade. I don't love it anymore. We'll see if it comes back into view up, or we'll be buying more of Intel if that does happen. But again, just a 50, and you have to use tick replay to go back. This is, the 50 period was in and around here at $24 when I did it. Now it's a little underneath it, but you could see it was a nice move to the play to the northbound there for Intel. So again, like the stock there, and that was a good trade. A $24 name, you know, share size appropriate, because you don't want to trade liquidity. Exactly, lots of liquidity, and liquidity is just the opportunity to. And I went back. Ramin and I did a video today a little bit about liquidity, and I changed the words a little bit. Liquidity is more about the ability to not impact the current stock price. Yep. That's the availability of liquidity. We don't have to make this, we don't have to make it like, you know, there's lots of shares on level 2 versus there's not, or anything like that. It's will your order and the shares that you're attempting to trade, and is there enough liquidity there that orders are not like rapidly affecting that stock price? Yep. You know, if they are, like if a big 100,000 share order hits the market and your stock goes down $1, there's not that much liquidity there. You know, but you can send 100,000 shares at Intel right now, and it might move it 2 or 3 pennies. Yeah. So it's, and
you see that happen,
right? So it's how are bigger orders affecting the current price, the market price, and your ability to get those prices And we like to use words like slippage and things like that. So where's the slippage and what does liquidity look like? And on Intel, liquidity is bountiful because, you can trade this with any share size, I feel like. Their INT.
You don't want to throw 1 million shares at the book. I mean,
I don't think that would do that much damage.
I mean, yeah, maybe it drops at like 50 pennies. But
not
here's
even.
the thing, though. You throw 1 million shares at it, algo is probably going to move out. Like a lot of that book is probably going to move out of the way. And
you want to bet if I put 1 million shares on the offer right now, I believe it gets eaten up immediately.
Maybe, I don't know.
No, because it won't
always test it.
No, because you know why the market's rigged, and we've talked about this before. Because it just shows up on a random gateway that I'm using. There we go, dance, guy, dance. Right there. I think it's like, the puppet is here. But I just think that at the end of the day, they'll realize that it was probably a fat finger and run that order against me is what I was saying.
That's what I mean.
Right. So I think you can actually get them immediately and then they'll test you on that because 1 million shares moving 3 or 4 pennies, 30 or 40 pennies or something like that against me is finished. Yeah. But 1 million shares, 30 or 40 pennies against some of these algos or some of these hedge funds, that's just game time. So, you gotta be ready to play with the big boys and swim with the fishes and not in the other way. So hopefully we do that very, very soon.
No, I like that. I think Intel is definitely something. Again, like you said, I've been indulging in it a little bit more. And funny enough, we were talking about not following the plan. And it's a third one on my list. But again, I was talking to Wayne about this in the morning. I'm like, I have so many ideas, and I didn't necessarily grade them too well. I had a long list of maybe about 15 tickers. I narrowed it down to about 2 tickers. But I realized in the morning that some of them might have been a lot stronger of an idea than others, and I didn't necessarily grade some of these ideas as well as I could have. And one of the ideas on Intel, Sean, was I was like weekly backside ? Therefore, again, it's just an idea, but the execution set around that is to look for continued sellers in and around VWAP, around pre-market levels, maybe not necessarily any specific price, but you're maybe looking for a certain type of price action. But yeah, different execution sets for that idea, and Intel worked out really well off of the open, right? But again, like we say, there's lots of opportunity on the board, and you caught the reversion on Intel off of a catalyst, right? So it's like, okay, let's see if that catalyst can break some of that weekly trend. But definitely, players are offside intraday because of that. It's a situational change relative to what's been kind of happening, and if the volume is going to show you that on the chart, you definitely have to kind of respect that. But yeah, a lot of liquidity on Intel as of late. Again, in the eyes of a lot of people, because they also have that buyout rumor that's coming in. So if we go to the daily chart here on Intel, we can just see how that volume has been expanding.
We got to 27 though, didn't we?
Yeah, it got to 27s. It was, I think, a bit of a false break of that prior high as of right now. But you can see how aggressive we got off of this bit of a demand zone that we've been holding over the past couple of years, 2024, 2025, and this 18.5, 19 level continues to show up as a bit of support in the past as well. You can see from 2015, Sean, from 2015, this level has been a spot where buyers showed up, and coming back into it, a little bit more confluence, and they show up once again. So again, market environment is different, catalysts are different, the company is different, but the price action is absolutely staying absolutely beautiful here. And again, this is why I love to look at some of these charts here. But 25, we're trading below that as of right now, and a strong push back up on that AI, the new chips. I think the Xenon 6s kind of maybe being used in terms for AI purposes, right? So interesting look on this one, maybe a potential buyout rumor, but Nike, here we go. Nike was one of the ones.
Yes,
Sean.
this was one of yours. Yeah, let's go.
We can talk about what I kind of did on Nike. You can see it here, a little bit of a short to start off with, under a false break of 80. Guess what? I don't necessarily stop out of the trade. I can make this a little bit bigger so we can take a look at some of my entries and exits a little specifically and do some trade review. So from the morning session. So you can see a false break of 80. doesn't really work. I don't really take anything off. I think I was like 40, 50 pennies in, and I'm looking for it to come right back in. False break of 80, I like it. It doesn't work. This entry, I shouldn't necessarily be getting back in. This is a reason to get out. It showed you that buyers are still strong. My original idea was Nike continuation, and we'll see why in a second when I show you the bigger time frame, bigger picture of what Nike was doing, not only last week, but in the pre-market this morning. So a bit of a tilt short there because I'm like, all right, I missed the long that I wanted. I like that 79 break. I even disrespected this pullback that held a little bit higher on the 79 halves. It was a great place to get in, and then it kind of hold that short against me a little bit. But I see there's a bigger picture, maybe some. I'm looking for maybe supply to come in that 80-81 area because my original idea was to take inventory from the 79s into this area. But again, stop out, get back in. That's what I need to be doing better here. It's okay to, I think it's still okay to get in short here, but it's still got to respect your levels. It does come in, it breaks that VWAP. So we do get a break of that bid from the morning session, which was absolutely beautiful. And I have some shares from the highs, so absolutely solid there. But guess what? I only cover, let's say about 30%, 20 to 30% on this pullback. And when it reclaims, it's clearly showing me that buyers are still in charge. So why am I still getting involved? I got to be cutting a lot more off here on Nike. And this is, I think, going back at it, I think this is a great example of a continuation trade. And again, we'll see why when we look at a higher time frame. I pretty much relatively like broke even on the trade, even though I slightly degened and held against me. It started consolidating on top of VWAP, and multiple sells into VWAP were met with aggressive bids. I'm like, all right, where this is clearly holding above 80, so I do need to respect that regardless of how I'm up or down on the trade. The trade is showing me that it's clear that buyers are potentially here at a higher level. So let's go take a look at a higher time frame and see where that potentially comes in. So why did I have Nike on the board today? Simply, staples were strong. Staples were very strong last week, and again, Nike definitely one of staples in my opinion. It's fundamentally sound,
yeah.
Right? It doesn't have too much volatility, but it does well.
Tariffs in China, right? Because everything's made over there.
Yeah. So I think that's something to consider as well. But take a look at what we're doing in the morning session, Sean. We're gapping above prior weeks or monthly highs, right? This is almost all of February, and we're gapping above monthly highs, consolidating above that 78 level. So automatically in the morning, I'm like, all right, we know that Nike's been a little strong. Post earnings, last week I was watching it as well when this aggressive bid came in on Tuesday. This is February 18th. So when that Tuesday bid came in, I started watching it, keeping eyes on. And today, I'm like, okay, we're gapping up above. Let's see if we actually break out, and that continuation does come in into Nike for that push in through 80. So in my opinion, in the morning, this was a pretty strong trade for me, and I wasn't necessarily part of it because of how fast it came in. So what do? I try to fade the move that I originally planned, which is an issue I have sometimes. And it's like, okay, maybe like it's plan for it. I think that's the biggest lesson here. It's like, okay, if you plan for the trade and then plan for what you should be doing if you miss the trade. Maybe if you miss the original, look for the continuation. VWAP clearly had buyers, and it gave you a whole point, almost just under, I think, 30 to 40% ATR off of VWAP for the continuation. So it's like, there's many ways I could have tackled this, but that's what I did in the morning, and I understood that I wasn't making the best decisions, maybe not the most rational decisions, so I kind of stepped away. I'm like, all right, maybe observe. Don't put on too much risk. We have Nvidia this week. We have MSCI at the end of the week as well.
Yep.
Got some strong rebalances potentially, maybe, who knows? But yeah, we'll see what the week holds for us. But as of right now, I'm just trying to manage my risk as best as I can. That's all. Went on a bit of a rant.
No, you didn't.
I apologize.
I'm a trade explanation. I mean, this is what this.
Yeah, I mean, I said I'm reviewing my trade. There's a little quick couple-minute review. Yeah.
So. I think Dara was clapping.
Thank you, Dara.
So, Obi?
Yes.
Get it.
Thank you.
All right, all right, shout out to Daniel T there in the chat as well, because he was asking about the Boots Alliance of Walgreens, because I don't, huge move to the upside right now. I've asked Adair about someone. Okay, they have the post. Okay, there's nothing. Adair was just looking at social media to see if there was something here for Walgreens Boots Alliance. But it's again they removed their dividends. Obviously, okay, all right, yeah, sure. Let's, less of me and more of everybody else is what I'm happy to do. So let's go back over to Adara and figure that out. And we'll hear some more stories from Obi, and then I'll just hang out. What's going on, Adara?
I did just do a deep dive here into Walgreens Boots Alliance. There's nothing news-wise on Benzinga, and there's not a ton of X content. But one thing I did find was apparently someone named the Chart Doctor, or I guess the Chart DR on X, the username, made a post about Walgreens. Apparently, this individual has 273,000 followers on X, and some major stock market related accounts do follow this individual. So this could be market moving. Unfortunately, we do not know what the Chart Doctor posted because their post has since been deleted by them. So unclear if that was a market moving related thing. I'm just seeing some posts asking why this individual deleted the post. But I think it's worth noting here, sometimes we know that posts, especially from influential figures on stock market Twitter, can move the market. So be aware here, some potential social media interest for WBA, which has about a 9% short float. Back to you.
Short float is, thanks, Dara. The 9% short float is somewhat interesting. By the way, I was in one day last week. Yeah,
Feeling much
at some
better?
point.
Feeling much better now?
Much? Yeah.
It's good.
I'd say I'm like 79%.
Boom. Let's go. That's an uptrend.
But
yeah.
I'm working on the dramatic pauses. Been working on that for a while.
Yeah.
Not getting any better at it. All right, so I was in here last Thursday. All right, someone tagged me, and they said, "What about good old B. Riley?" And I say, "You know what about B. Riley? This stock, when they brought it up to us, I looked it up, and I had known about this stock for a minute because it was breaking some key levels, and we had talked about this on the Market Recap Show a little bit. Once we had broke through this $15, it was game over. It was this stock, not even that long ago, right? Like back in last summer, or actually this summer. It's July of 23, my bad. 2 summers ago, and again this summer, we had that nice move upside where you were at $60, $70, all right? So the thing is that we indicated this stock, and I came on here, and someone had super chatted for $10, and they said they're stuck at $5, right? Is that stock price? Oh, hallelujah! Randy's in the building. Thank you, Randy, for that tea. Oh, yes, in a minute, Ramin. He wants me to do these ad reads, like.
Oh boy.
Paying for the bills with my trading alone. No, okay. So at the end of the day here. It was, long story short, which is getting longer and longer, it had over a 50% short float. And we talked about that on Thursday. That's Thursday. This is Friday. This is today. Boom goes the dynamite. Riley right back there into $5 as if somehow, the stock was listening to us. Nice move up there for B. Riley. So this is all real. Okay, I got to get it up, and then we will do the ad for you because this ad is very, very at the foremost of my mind because it's something that we've talked about this over and over and over again. I don't even see it. There it is right there at 248. Okay, that's a little extended, but it's 252 right now. My bad. Okay, where are we? Where am I right now? Oh, we're on the show. Are we live yet?
Are we live?
Are we doing
this live?
When are we putting this show live?
Oh boy.
Okay. Whew, I was a little nervous there.
What's going on, everybody?
The thing is, Obi, I don't ever really want to go in front of anybody. I'm pretty nervous about, public speaking and things like that. So I'm really excited for when we finally launch this on YouTube.
Whoa, there goes WBA accelerating. It's crazy.
So by the way, Walgreens is blowing to the upside right now. So thanks for the super chat. Like we just talked a little bit about it. And there it goes. No, Ramin, I got to do this first. All right, let's go. Unlock the nuclear renaissance with foremost clean energy. There it is right there. Leveraging one of the biggest mega trends on the planet, nuclear energy. Partnered now with Denison Mines with properties strategically located in the Athabasca Basin, known as, get this, Ramin, the Saudi Arabia of uranium. This undervalued company is poised to capitalize on the exploding nuclear market and offers unparalleled growth potential. The future is nuclear. Not just clear, it is nuclear. Foremost is your entry on the NASDAQ under FMST and on the CSE FAT. Go to foremostcleanenergy.com for details. Make sure you do scan that QR code there. And again, we talk about some solution. I think it will be nuclear, and there are many different opportunities for that. So definitely go check that out. Wow, thank you, Daniel T, for this one, man. There goes Walgreens Boots Alliance. Boom, right there. Get those rain boots on because sloshy up here. And the thing is that when you're looking at it, you're going to come into some levels here that you're still a little ways away. We can get up to this 12 or 13. Report.
Oh, boy.
Now the guy literally stops in my ear.
I think Neil left the squawk on, so I hear that as well.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Possibly involved in.
Oh boy.
A deal with Sycamore Partners. So Walgreens, a possible deal involved with a deal with Sycamore Partners. So we'll see this private equity. We'll see if they come in right now and look to do something with Walgreens. Again, I don't know what their online business is like. I'm not sure what stores, but we talked about how Amazon came in and, ate the lunch of a lot of these. Not smaller, but I'm pretty sure we don't have Walgreens around here, but most items that you can get at a Walgreens, I would assume, are also available somewhere on Amazon. But I mean, I guess that's true of most major markets there. So I don't mind that. If it's a buyout rumor or some sort of a rumor there, it's not really moving around too much. You do see some increased action right now on the volume. So right now, WBA and Sycamore Partners. So again, traders circulating report that companies suggesting financing here for potential Sycamore deals. So we'll wait to see what's going on with WBA. Miss Adara has the story.
So to clarify, this story with Sycamore and WBA is not new. We've heard reports of a potential deal between the two since as early December, though. It is worth noting it's been kind of on and off. We've heard some rumors that the deal has ended and that it's back on. The key difference here apparently has to do with the fact that there's now financing for this buyout. So again, I want to clarify, the Sycamore relationship with WBA is not new. What is new is the fact that apparently there's some financing for a potential buyout. I am not seeing any report, and I've done some pretty deep research, but Seeking Alpha saying that apparently this report is circulating again. I have not yet seen the report, but I will continue looking and I will provide you with more details the second I have them. Back to you.
Okay, thank you, Adara, for all of that. Yeah, so like 5 minutes later, I asked Adara, pardon me? Yes, that's what I was going to get at in a second. Okay, so we are having people complaining about mic issues, but I think it's just a stream issue. So, okay, good. So it's good. So everything's fine on our end. So please, guys, try to refresh if you are having a problem with the stream. We've double-checked, triple-checked everything, and it should be fine for here. So refresh your systems. All right. Oh, now I forget what I was saying there. But, oh, yeah, it was that I asked Adara 5 minutes before. We couldn't find anything. Then this story comes through. So it is a new sort of development on that same Sycamore connection there. Thanks, Adara, for bringing that to our attention. Something that we've known for a minute, but some new action here on that. All right, just quickly, we talked about Tesla. I was like, I was in love. Oh, gosh. Trump right now talking about Ukraine. So we can look at LMT or maybe some other names like that. I cannot believe he was saying that he was going to go in there and he'll end the war in a minute, but he wanted 50% of all the resource profits up to $500 billion, which is more than what they've paid in there. So there's going to be some back and forth, but at least the deal maker is in the building here, and we're going to see what happens with that going through. I just wanted, people got sort of all geared up about Tesla there, and I had talked about it down here at VWAP, and I want to say that whoever, I forget, I should remember the name, but we were talking about it, and I said that it may not do too much. Well, you did get a move down for about 80 cents, move up for about 80 cents, and then you landing at VWAP again. I still think with this market heading to the downside, this is why I stay away from some of these names and why we look to go short. We talked about playing Nvidia, which is going to be P&L number one today. We get out when levels break, because you can't hold things all the way. Because what was a good trade at some point, if you don't start to exit and sell some of those bags, then you're unable to capture that profit. So just be careful with it. A name on the nuclear side, and I'm going to throw it back to my guy over here, Obi, who's a little less shy to talk than I. You could see SMR's also breaking down. So there's been some, nuclear plays that have gone a little bit the other way here over the last little while. I wonder if funding is drying up for some of these names, and meaning not funding for the company themselves, but just for the market. Like, Google's down a lot right now. The Palantirs, like I feel like there's companies that are down that are sort of sopping up people's interest right now, and some of these better, you know, opportunities are maybe upon us right now. And when I look at SMR, I just think it's bled down. Like if you get someone coming in again, talking positively, whether or not it be Amazon looking to take a spot, I believe Amazon does have a little tie-up somewhere with NewScale, which is SMR. You're coming into some levels. Look how good this looks down here, Obi. I mean, support and resistance-wise, like this $17, $18 on shaking my rear isn't that bad down here right now. You do have a 200 period protection. This isn't horrible, but you know, my hands up in the air because I had bought some down here on this break and we didn't get anything out. So again, a little bit of a longer term spot there for me on SMR. And I do think we are getting into a space now where you could probably buy the dips now in SMR because you're getting into some sort of support. So there is also other names in the space and we can go over those. But so we looked at some WBA for you. Thank you for putting that in the chat. And we did go over it. So I want to thank everybody for that. We did go over obviously some of the plays that you had there with Nike, looked at some Tesla. So let's keep it going, man. So apparently we may still be having some audio issues. I don't, you know, our team is testing it out, and the best ideas that we have for you right now is log out, log in, refresh, things like that.
Have you tried turning it off and on again?
Yes, exactly. That's the, like when you phone the, you know, this support staff, it's like, or that's our answer for everything around here too. You know, I'll tell like our IT is like, guys, my charts are a mess. We'll just log out and back in and then it'll be okay. And you know what, to be honest with you, I actually think that fixes the problem more often than not. It's like when you're at home, right? And you're like, something's going on. What do? You immediately just off and on. Yeah. Off and on, baby. We had to drive up to Gravenhurst. So where's that?
Yeah, how far is that? North, east, south? Gravenhurst.
Yeah, north. Yeah, north of Barrie, north of Aurelia.
Okay.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Thankfully, it was not bad traffic there. And then my daughter sort of, so it was a winner out, basically. It's a playoff against North Bay. And so North Bay is like 4 hours north. We agreed to meet in the middle. They were down here last week in our barn, not in our barn, but in Etobicoke. And we had lost that game 4-3. And so this was a go-home, winner-go-home game. You couldn't even tie. Because it's best out of 3, and point is, anyways, if you win and tie, you're through because we need to get it going. Anyways, so my daughter, very proud of her, she fueled her inner Mitch Marner, which of course you know what that means. No idea, of course.
I would say that.
And she got these 2 beautiful assists, and they wound up winning 3-1, and it was a great opportunity. So we were able to get into there. We drove up there on Saturday. That was a big game, and I was really proud of her for doing that because she's really the team. And like, the thing about hockey is, I mean, most, and again, I didn't get an opportunity.
Yes. Oh, yes.
You know, I wore the jersey here. And there's a lot of people saying 51st state, this might still happen, you know. But think about hockey, you know. We have to take an opportunity to celebrate a little bit because that was a hell of a game. And I was tweeting it out too. And congratulations to all the U.S. fans as well because like that was just a great game. It could have gone either way. Jordan Binnington, the goalie there at the end, made some huge saves in overtime. But at the end of the day, McJesus came there, saved the day, and the rest is history, man. Team Canada rightfully back on top of the hockey world. So not that we ever left it, but you know, we're there now, undisputed. And the good thing about this tournament was it was not IHHF rules, which the Olympics, there's basically no penalties in the Olympics. Like, you know, it's no fighting. Like if you fight in the Olympics, you're basically kicked out, I think, the next game for sure, so on and so forth. So there's different rules there. So it was nice to see just a great overall hockey game, well-spirited. I have no idea what Winnipeg's own Chantal Kreviatsuk was doing there. I think Adara has some explanations to do because that was the most pathetic "Oh Canada" I've ever seen in my life. And they're like, Winnipeg's own Chantal. I was like, okay, I got to tell this to Adara, first of all, there. And I was like, this is, so I don't know if this is done on purpose or not, but like the American anthem there, you probably didn't watch it. But it was beautiful. They had the
saw
boss.
The tweet about how the game ended, yes.
Yeah.
I was like, yes, let's go.
Yes, let's go. But they had a beautiful, I think it was either the Boston, I don't know if it was the firefighters, but they had a beautiful, like, 20-piece band there, and they had this amazing opera singer just belted out. Like the Star Spangled Banner was amazing.
Yeah.
And our girl kind of came out there, and I was like, like all that just not what I was expecting. See, I like it, Joe. See, so now Joe's running his mouth about how the Americans are losing, but I didn't hear one thing. Wow, this guy's live on the air. Like, I got to catch all the shrapnel. I'm not even looking at the chat right now. But Joe, you see that game? Did you watch it down south there?
Oh, it was sick at the bar.
You know, yeah, I was in.
Sick at the bar.
Yeah. I remember I was in Cancun, and I forget. It must have been. So it was. I don't know if I was a freshman or what, but in college we all went to Cancun on spring break. So it was, this time, and there was a tournament. So how old would have I been here? Graduated in 2002. So it must have been, it was either the 2002, there must have been either an Olympics or something, but I remember watching it in a bar in Cancun, and it was great because there's so many Canadians were down there, and it was great to see like all of that. So I'm sure some similar love there for Toronto or for Canada down in Jamaica as well. But yeah, what a great game. Congratulations to everybody who's a fan of hockey. It was a great opportunity and really shows. And I tweeted something out. Hockey players get beat up and, punched in the face, pucks in the face, all this. They go out for exhibition games, like what they were doing, playing no matter what. Right. Dude in NBA just has like my elbow a little sore, 4 or 5 months. Okay, Adara, what's up with Winnipeg?
We could talk about that too, but just keep an eye here. REGN, Regeneron here. Apparently their DB Oto trial actually showed, quote, clinically meaningful hearing improvements in nearly all of the children they tested with profound genetic hearing loss. So great results here for the hearing trial for REGN. Be aware this one does not tend to get as much volume, but certainly one to keep an eye on. With regards to Chantal Kraviazik, she is Winnipeg royalty. She did do a song with Drake, and my entire family saw her in concert last year, so I will not be speaking ill of Chantal. Back to you.
Okay. I'm not speaking ill of her. I'm saying that performance was like she was in another zone. Like that was one of the worst O Canadas.
Oh boy.
I think, and it was all over the internet. I mean, everyone was like, "What is going on right there?" It's almost like she was like drugged or something to perform that poorly.
That's wild.
It was bad.
I haven't seen it, but
don't watch
it. Now I'm curious, but
okay, watch it.
Yeah, no.
I did buy some. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Congrats on both the games. Congrats to the players. What's your team called?
The Etobicoke Dolphins.
Etobicoke Dolphins. Congrats to you guys, and congrats to the Canadian team for winning as well. I think that's solid. Yeah, I definitely. I mean, I don't really necessarily watch sports, but when I saw that we had won, I did a little bit of a celebratory. Just like, yes, let's go.
Nice.
But, that was. It's good stuff. But I'm kind of looking at. I'm looking at WBA as well here, but I'm looking at Palantir, to be honest, because I was like, when it was at 93s, consolidating around VWAP, I'm like, well, this is great to kind of look for the continuation short, risking up to 94s. I think 94.11 was that consolidation high. And oh boy, we're coming right back in to the day low, guys. 89.30 is the day low, and 90.30s is currently trading right now on Palantir. So a bit of a continuation happening going into the end of the day, and we get that tailwind from the market as well, a bit of a reversion or maybe even a continuation of the morning action, reversion of the bid that we kind of got up here on both the ES and the NASDAQ. So my question is, what is really moving around? What's kind of breaking trend? The first kind of thing that I look for, if again, taking a peek at some of these Mag 7 names, I see that Softy is probably one of the more relatively strong ones. Obviously, Apple is the strongest on the day today. You can see that if you guys have taken a look at Apple at all, you can see that very strong, aggressive move in the pre-market. I think there was a catalyst about them spending 500. Was it million or billion? 500.
It would be only million. I don't think they'd be spending billions on what stock?
Sorry, 500 billion in the States in the next 4 years. So they're going to invest. So we kind of saw a bit of drop in price off of that, but reverted the whole move, broke that reference high, and strong push coming in off of the open there on Apple, and it's been holding VWAP since, so relatively strong compared to some of the other Mag 7 names here on the day today, and Softy as well. Softy kind of creeping a little bit higher here, retrace about 50% of its move, but relatively weak is Goggles here. And again, Google, I was looking for a bit of reversion on Friday, never really got it, definitely gave it a couple of tries, lost on both, and I was like, oh boy, the selling is quite aggressive. And coming in today, we kind of come back into that some of those levels. I was like, okay, Google also had news this morning, and I think it was I don't remember specifically what it was, but I think it was a deal with CRM and some of maybe people moving on to Google's cloud services there. On that, we got a push and reverted a decent chunk of Friday's action on that. So I was like, oh boy, if we can get past this Friday high, then maybe we're set for higher levels here. If we can break out of this aggressive selling that happened, but guess what? We kind of gap up, push into that opening range low on the 30-minute chart here on Friday's opening range low is what I mean, and then kind of selling comes right back in for an aggressive flush. Again, the market sold off as well, so that was some strong tailwind as well. So Google trading near its day lows. Tesla, I know a lot of people were talking about Tesla, some solid trades on Tesla, like we talked about earlier during the rundown. But yeah, that 350 kind of over-under, still trading within that opening range as of right now. So that's kind of some of the more relatively strong and relatively in line with the market, I guess, rundown of some of those tickers there. SMH as well coming to the downside. So yeah, a lot of these chips, AMD, Intel is about to turn. It's looking like it's trying to turn. So maybe something there. That was that continuation I was talking about when we could not even hold 25 in the pre-market. We broke below some of these levels, opening range high, kind of testing that 2480 before quadunking all the way down to 2360s here on Intel. But nice little reversion there on Intel off of an intraday catalyst, definitely putting a lot of shorts offside. And we saw that Sean had that reversion trade as well, very, very strong, still holding up there off of that news. Now I know on my other I guess charts I did have this anchored on, so it's like, okay, where did the news come out? Throw an anchored up on there, and you can see we've been holding this. This is the dark black anchored there. We've been holding some of this above these prices since then. Maybe a little bit of a hold of that 2450 that was trying to happen during a good chunk of the midday session. We're still trading in and around there, so I got my eyes on that one there. 25, bit of an over-under. I don't know if there's going to be much going into the later end of the day from Intel, but I'll keep an eye on. A little involved here on this WBA. Don't know if it's going to work out, but where's the next trade? That's what I'm asking Sean. And again, I kind of want to stay a little bit nimble. Don't really want to put on too much risk as of right now. But if the trade does show up, Sean,
yeah,
we're going for it.
I mean, that's the whole point, right? Is to get locked and loaded and be prepared for the next trade. And on that note, I mean, what a great segue. I want to thank Adara. So first of all, I tweeted this out, but I just retweeted her work. So again, thank you for all that. Adara's going to be running this, is running this Trader TV research page. So if you're not a member of X, fine, but if you are, make sure you get over here and follow at Trader TV Research, as well as all of us here. Like you follow one, it'll probably sort of lead you to the others. So go there. I just retweeted it here, get it going a bit. And I want to thank everybody for looking at it, man. Over 2.6 thousand right now views on this pre-market calendar, earnings calendar, where we can discuss right now what's going to be happening here tonight. So Berkshire Hathaway pre-market, this is going into Monday. So we had them, Domino's Pizza tonight, Diamondback, Tempest, Zoom, RIOT, HIMS and HERS. So we could talk about probably RIOT. A lot of traders looking at Mara, things like that. HIMS and HERS, I think you looked at that a little bit earlier on as well. For me, a big interest. Any names on here, Obi, that you're looking at? I'm very, very excited to say that, a play maybe, hold on a second, I just got to get that Intel trade out in case it pops lower. I do want to get out if it does break that shelf. And I'll talk about that in a minute. But Home Depot, I think, is an interesting name. I think with rates supposed to being cut this year, you think he'll cut rates this year?
Honestly, I don't.
Okay, no opinion for now. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, I mean, they could, they can't, they couldn't, but I'm just. Here's the thing. I do
so they could or they couldn't?
Yeah. I do my best to stay a little unbiased because if I feel like sometimes if I have too strong of a bias, then I find myself fighting action. So like we could get a cut or we can't or we don't get a cut, and then the market does one thing or the other, regardless of what we get. and I don't want to find myself fighting that kind. So I try to stay kind of
all
away
good.
from having a strong
Was just
opinion,
asking
but
you what you thought,
yeah,
maybe, but
that's-
it's all good. It's
that's
all
my
good, my guy.
reasoning
It's all
for
good,
it.
my guy. No worries. Yeah. So I was, yeah. No. But hey, to your point though, it's true. Like the minute you get married to one way, and I said that about Tesla. Like I nailed that short at the bottom on Tesla. I was like, okay. Maybe I don't have the right level. And then, you average into that short because you're already short.
Yeah.
So even though I'm only short, let's just say 50 shares or something, I'm like, okay, I feel like there's something there. Then I average it in. And then next thing you know, you've just made, you've made,
It's easy to get
you made a
angry.
decision very, very bad right there. But okay, so I was going to say though, that if there is a rate cut cycle upon us, I do think Home Depot. And again, I'd hate to talk about
Staples.
I mean, I don't hate to talk about I'm about to do it, but the wildfires and all that kind of stuff, obviously we hate for that, but there is going to be a rebuild that's going to have to happen there. Home Depot and some of those plays. I don't know if that's the biggest beneficiary of all of this, but there is something there for sure. So I look at this list and I see Home Depot. I think Home Depot will obviously trigger something with Lowe's that comes through over there. I'm interested in Kava. Kava's gone the other way right now. Again, a name that we don't have here in Canada, but a relatively new name to the market, a couple years old. Again, in the right space, I believe. So Kava would be something. The biggest and the baddest is right there with Nvidia. We'll have a watch party with myself, Adara, and Sharif, I believe, on Wednesday, if all goes well for this. Salesforce, Nvidia, C3AI. I mean, there are going to be some names coming there. And then later on, I think Clover Health's had a couple good moves recently as well. So there's something about Clover there that I think can be interesting as well. And then, of course, Fubo is something for us on Friday to look at. TD Bank, sort of the beat-up bank name here in Canada that has had a nice move up. So go over there, find out what's going on. Join Adara and Sharif tonight as they will be going over all of these earnings plays. All right, so you're in WBA. Is that doing
couple
anything?
Tries. I mean, it's starting to slow down, right? We got that aggressive push, a little bit of acceleration of that price into that $11 area, and we're kind of slowing down, stalling. Again, this could continue to go. They had news on the 18th of February. I forget what that news was, but we made a bit of a high there at 11.18. That's what I'm looking at here. Current day high is at, what is this, 11.11. So yeah, just kind of trying to play some of this price action on WBA. Let's see if it lasts. That bid came in quite aggressive. And yeah, it seems like we've been catching a bid since that $10 level here. And you can see that started in and around pretty much right off the open. We've only been bidding up since the open on this ticker. So very, very strong trend here. Not really hitting full-on criteria for reversion just yet, but I like to do a little bit of a dabble to see, and definitely want to get in a little bit more if this trend does kind of crack. But
Isn't that funny that you've traded today only two names, Nike and Walgreens?
Yeah.
It's
I mean,
not
a lot of days I'll trade like one or two tickers.
Yeah, it was just more about the names. Like we talked about how some of these, the action's been in some of these bigger cap names on the NASDAQ, and there you are finding your way with those. So great
opportunity.
Yeah, exactly. Great opportunities there. We talk about that. I don't really, for me, I mean, I was looking at Walmart last week when I thought the opportunity was there as well. Oh no, where's my fail button?
Oh boy.
I bought some Big Bear. I think it was at 6.15, so I'm already down again. Man. That's why I'm saying I'm just going to be buying some index, man. I have no idea what I'm doing. No, but just for some play money. Okay.
Wow.
Okay.
Okay.
No, but it is womps because right there now, unfortunately here we're going to have to wait to see on Big Bear, but it's coming back into some bids. So I did add a little bit during lunch on this name. Again, I like the AI play. We've done really well with Palantir. Not that Big Bear AI is something similar, but they did get a Department of Defense contract I think a couple weeks ago. So I do like the name. I do like the space. So yeah, I'm a fan of this. But we did talk about where this potentially is going. It looks like we're getting a little closer to that right there, down to $5. And the reason why we look at the 50-period moving average is because, okay, here we go, man. This name, Rigetti, is getting interesting as well because this has also made that move down. And the last time we had bought, the only time that we had bought Rigetti was right there off the 50 period, and we got out the very next day, which was probably a little too frugal, but at the end of it all, it worked out for a nice win, but then it had some continuations as well. But now you're starting to go underneath. So I'm a little bit worried about some of these quantum names. The big name, Oklo, right? That was one here that we had talked about as a possible winner in the space. Oklo, just, a lot of traders were sort of circulating that it was Sam Altman was involved with this name as well. So, and it's come right back in, and look where we're dancing off of right here too. The 50 period moving at, we're not dancing off of it, we're at it right there, that 50 period moving average. Was something interesting to consider for anybody looking at a nuclear name there, Oklo, maybe get into this one at $34. So, yeah, that's what I've been looking at. And then before we go, I was talking about getting some orders set up for Intel because it was basically the only position that I'm in right now. And I know you're in WBA, and we're going to look for some more with its 320 already. Wow, that went fast.
It's a little quick.
I feel like that went real fast. We had no guests.
We did the rundown.
Nothing. You and I over here doing this. Yeah, no, I like it. Thanks, Obi. Again, Neil, if you're here for Neil, I'm sorry, I'm here. Obviously, everyone loves Obi, but I'm filling in for Neil today. And as you see, it's just he wasn't feeling. He got like the little read there on his. He said he went to the bathroom or he got up or whatever and came back and he was like, oh, that's like it was showing him that his heart rate there was a little elevated. So he felt like he may be coming down with something. So we're like, oh, I really like that. What? I want, whenever I'm in, there's a heartbeat right now that I'm hoping everybody can hear as well. And I feel like whenever I'm in a big trade, I want that. I want that button. I want something to that too, because that's what winds up happening. And then I told that to my wife, and she's like, well, it's a trading show. Of course your heart rate's elevated. I'm like, well, okay. But everybody knows themselves. And when you get those spikes, sometimes that's a good indicator. So yay for technology.
Look at that. Size on the ask, 1098, 2,000 lots right here on, what's this ticker? Oh, WBA, yeah. So let me just throw that up for you guys here so we can look at it together right here. There's Buddy sitting on a NASDAQ gate right there. Let me pull this up right here. So some size on the ask at 1098 to 2,000 lots there on a NASDAQ book. So let's see, this is the first time we're seeing a little bit of a distinct difference here. See if he gets taken out. No idea what we're going to do with that size. Let's see what Adara has to say.
His press conference with Macron, which is mostly just about the geopolitical tensions right now in Russia and Ukraine. Trump was asked, though, about if the countries, specifically Mexico and Canada, that had tariff concerns, if they are responding appropriately. Donald Trump said that the tariffs are scheduled to go as planned. We are expecting tariffs here. They pushed them back a month, but I know we're expecting around March or April is what we're kind of expecting there. So Donald Trump says that these tariffs are going forward, and apparently they're, quote, on time. So be aware here, tariffs are, quote, on time. We do still have to worry about tariffs, according to Donald Trump. Back to you.
Yeah, I mean, thanks, Adara, for that report there. Yeah, I don't think many of us thought that they were going anywhere, but it, as delayed as possible would be nice for sure. Just noticing around here, our fuel prices still seem to be okay. Obviously a little bit worried about, the masses, and that would be including groceries and then energy prices, because that affects everybody, right? I mean, I don't really care about, oh my God, the price of Teslas are going up. Like, who cares? The rich people are the ones buying those cars anyways, or just cars in general. I'm talking about the day-to-day, how this affects the average consumer. And I think that here in Canada, obviously as tariffs go up, we do get, cheaper cost of goods, I guess, from the United States. Although with our recent exchange, I don't know exactly how that's going to pan out, but I obviously, a lot of Canadians here pretty worried. And we do have an election that's about to happen in 3 days on Thursday that's changing. I don't think it will change our current government here in Ontario, which is a province, which would be similar. We don't have as many powers as individual states do, but that provincial election hits right now on Thursday. So just like we saw in Germany, the Conservatives took that down. It was only 29% of the vote, but here the Conservative Party's been in power. Is this Dougie's second or third? Third, right. So he's in his second right now. This will be the third term for Doug Ford. So that's a Conservative there. So each term 4 years, very similar. So and he looks like right now. Liberals are behind by about 10 points, which I think is going to be maybe even more than that. Can be probably hard to cover that. So we'll probably have a very, very similar government looking to take, again, re-control. And all the talk is we're going down to Washington. We're going to talk. We'll see how that goes. But anyways, that's some of the talk around here. All right, Apple, just to get going. And again, then we have our federal election, which is maybe more about what you guys are interested in as well. That's coming probably in the summer. They still have to announce the date for that, as the Liberal Party right now, as Justin Trudeau has stepped down and resigned. So right now, still acting president or prime minister, but we will be electing a new one I'm hoping this summer, but we'll see. Isn't that funny how it's like we haven't even announced when our federal election is yet? And it's like, I'm just like saying it could be summer, which is just a little bit of a runway for that. All right, so Apple right now trying to hold out pretty good today. Up to that 245 area was a good breakout. Now you're holding. We try to get through 250. Apple's been a good stock. It did hit its all-time high. It is the most valued stock in the world still. So Apple up to 260 right now. Nice little play. That was the high. Then you had almost a reverse meta where you had almost straight down 20 straight days for Apple or so. Everyone was wondering what was going on there. Then you had the bounce off of, and again, not rocket science, 200 period moving average. That's where it caught that bid. So I really like Apple holding up above 240 right there. I do like that newer phone. We'll see what happens with it. A little bit of a cheaper alternative there for many to get involved. I saw my credit card get dinged for $17, I don't know what it was, dollars or so for Roblox came through yesterday for one of my kids. So that's been hitting to the downside as well, down there near $60. Again, we often look at some of these bigger names, but there's a lot of names that have been pulled back quite dramatically from highs. We talked about Google. I know Joe was looking at Google earlier today as well, but back into $60. Some interesting dip buy opportunities for some of these names. I'm a little bit into Roblox, not that much. I have not been able to get involved with DraftKings, but this is going to be another name that seems to be, once it loads up here, it seems to be getting a little bit of a haircut as well, right back in. So there's a couple names that I'm looking at as interesting plays here, DraftKings and Roblox, some names that are still in the tech space, but a little bit different than maybe what you're used to.
Yeah, no, I kind of, just watching this Palantir here, Sean, it's coming right back into that $90 area. Again, initially I was like, oh, it's headed for the lows. Catches a bit of a bounce off of 90s, that low being 90.07s, coming back into 91s. But look at that, we're kind of still making that downtrend off of that VWAP hold as of right now, and a bit of a continuation on a bigger picture as well. 89.30 is the current day low. But yeah, I'm going to continue watching this one there. If it can get to day low, maybe that could prove to be a little interesting here as well on Palantir. But yeah, throw it up in the chat. What are you guys looking at? And again, I know a lot of people were asking about watch list last week when I was on, and honestly, like I don't think, like I'm still learning. I'm just like, my watch list is nothing crazy. It means a lot more to me than it does to anybody else because it's relative to my playbook, right? So it's like, all right, I had a lot of different ideas here, and we can kind of go through some of these, Sean, because I kind of. No regrets, but definitely some missed trades. So some simple ideas here that I have on my screen, and we can take a quick rundown of some of them. I was looking for, it's very, very clear, looking for continuations, looking for maybe reversions, or maybe just having eyes on for to look for any sort of playbook setups that might show up on some of these names. This is what I was talking about. I got like 3, 6, 9, 12, 11. Okay, so in the morning I had 12, and then I added Nike in the morning, like I said before, after what I saw it did in the pre-market session. So you can kind of go through some of these tickers here. Oracle, we know that's been an interesting name. Oh boy, Oracle I had down for continuation, but then took eyes off of it because it pretty much reverted a decent chunk of the move. But guess what? It kind of showed us with the VWAP test and kind of a double topping action at underneath 175 that there might be a little bit of supply, and you can see that is an area that was support in the earlier on in the week and then turned into resistance on Friday. So that resistance underneath 175 coming in once again on Oracle for that continuation. So I can definitely be a little bit more thoughtful about where I'm looking for continuation on some of these ideas, because sometimes I'm like, oh, it's got to crack pre-market level or prior day low right off of the open. But sometimes, it's the market. It's not going to be clean like that always. And the continuation trade still on the table, bigger picture underneath that 175. So something to consider there as well. So Meta, I was also looking for continuation, very, very strong continuation happening on Meta today. Did I participate? Absolutely not. So I left a lot on the table. And again, shout out to Wayne. He's always reminding me of not getting anchored to certain ideas like Nike, like I was earlier today, and missing out on so many of the other morning plans that I had. And we've gone through 2 of them already, and we see that both of them worked. Maybe not cleanly, but in their own way, definitely worked a little bit here. Intel, I was like looking for the backside. I'm like, yeah, on the weekly, if you take a look at the weekly on Intel, you can see a little bit of some selling coming in off of some of the prior earnings as well. Bigger picture, we kind of rejected that 50 mark here in January of last year, and we've been we've been trending down off of that. So a little bit of potential resistance there. I was like looking at the weekly, very strong top wick here on the weekly, prior week on Intel. I'm like, all right, do we take a little bit of a pullback? And coming into today, you can see right off of the open, we do get some selling underneath that $25 level here. So yeah, I'm not going to go through all of these, but some of those were my top ones. And again, some sector trades as well, maybe staple continuation, bank fades as well. PLTR was a big miss on my part. PLTR continuation came in right off of the open, right? So right off of the open, if this will load, I'm just going to reload that. Have you tried turning it off and on again? Let's go back to PLTR here.
You're just full of memes, man. That's the thing about you.
I mean, life is memes sometimes.
Would you take a look at that?
Would you take a look at that?
Here you go.
There it is. It's frozen once again. So, you got one?
I got this one. That.
Oh yeah, come on, do. Yeah,
Fabian did something there.
Yeah, he's.
To me, that
some stuff.
I'm not sure if that looks
Mike might be a little wonky right now. But yeah, no, Palantir continuation comes in right off of the open. Not only just off of the open, but it kind of comes in the pre-market, because I was like, oh, 100. I want to look for that 100 to reject. And it's happening right here after 7 a.m. Not actually right at 7 a.m., but 7:20. So it had to be in pretty early for this one, and that 100 consolidation breakdown came in. And even if you didn't have that, the reject of that 99 level, a bit of a lower high happening on a bigger time frame relative to what we did last week and in the prior weeks there on Palantir. Again, strong selling, kind of giving us that continuation. The question becomes, we're below 100 now, Sean, so do we get even lower?
Yeah.
Do we hold this 90 level? I think that we might have some room to go to the downside before we catch a bit of a bid again, but what do I know?
A lot.
No, I know nothing.
Well, I mean, I guess in the grand scheme of things, we all pretty much are. Right. The more you know. I mean, I was very proud to tell you that Michael Jordan played for which team?
The Chicago Bulls.
No, he didn't know before, but we've.
The last time you hit me, I almost got blindsided. I was like, right away, I was like, oh, what did I say? Buffalo Bulls, because I got mixed up with this little guy over here. So oh boy, indeed. Go Sports.
Go Sports.
No, it's funny enough, because what was it? I think it was in elementary school. I did a project on Michael Jordan. So, yeah. I did like a PowerPoint.
Okay,
I did one of those.
This is a little bit of a risk. Yeah. I'm going out on a little bit of a limb here.
All right, go for it. We take.
Is there a chance that you potentially, from your days of doing this?
Yeah. Do I still have that document?
No.
Oh. I don't.
Do you happen to remember Michael Jordan's number?
23.
Oh.
Yeah.
Bang, man! Not just a pretty face, this Obi over here. As many people say around here, get it, Obi, because that was a very, very good response right there. You would have no idea then who many would consider his wingman at that time. You would have no idea who that would be.
I saw. What was it?
Did you say Bill Wennington? That would be incorrect.
Yes. No, I did not say
Okay,
that.
no, right.
I saw the movie. What was it? Air.
Okay.
I think.
Was there? I mean, there's been a lot of documentaries. Which? You mean Air Bud?
Well, not documentary. It was like a movie. No, not Air Bud. No. Great movies though.
Air
Great
Bud,
movies. I've
yeah.
seen some of the Bud movies. Yeah.
I did. I said
yeah,
Air Bud. Yeah.
Those are great movies. No, the Nike movie that had Jordan in there. Yeah, that was great. It was a good movie.
Yeah. Did you? Oh man, my kids watched one in the school. What those cartoon ones? What were those ones? They just redid it. It had LeBron in it. The old ones. Space Jam.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've seen
those
the
were fun
movie.
movies,
I haven't
for
seen the. Yeah.
All right. So let's go and just keep on looking here because we do have 330 right now. The market is making, I don't want to say new lows because it just bounced off of it because it's not even anywhere near new lows, but it is making new lows here this afternoon. And we had sort of thought about, potentially there underneath VWAP. I was talking short pretty much the whole way. I never got an opportunity to discuss. I mean, we told you we're holding less than 5% of this Intel trade, looking at a VWAP trade to get out of it if that is the case for us at some point here today on this name. So Intel, nice little fade down there into those levels. We'll have to watch out to see what Intel's doing. And the more you know, Obi, the better we will all be. So there it goes. Intel with a nice little move to the downside there. Amazon just popping up on a screener. So let me have a quick little petite look here at Amazon and what's going on there. Yeah, so just up to VWAP there. So that's the scanner that just hit us on that as the market looks to rally a little bit back upside right now on this. I'm just going to make sure that I do have my Intel stops in there, Obi. So what names are you looking at here with just a couple minutes left?
I got the WBA. I got Palantir on watch. And in terms of large caps, again, kind of have eyes on Softy because of how strong it is. Apple, not so much because although it is strong, it's still kind of within prior weeks range. We've been holding that like underneath that 250 area. So I got that one on watch, but Softy a little bit more than the other ones. Maybe a little bit of Tesla, but other than that, nothing too crazy. Let's see what shows up on some of these imbalances.
All right, good call. Yeah, why don't we have a quick look to see what is there right now? And I mean, what could be possibly sending this market the other way right here? CNQ, okay, that shouldn't be a big deal. LUV, of course, Southwest there as a sell right now. Anything that's going to be NASDAQ, or you see here with a 9:30 time means it's not being updated. You're looking here for all of these. And then as of 350, the NASDAQ imbalances will update, and those are the ones that we'll be more specifically interested in, I feel like, as we go. So we'll wait to see about NASDAQ imbalances and whatnot, trying to hit out here at 350. Other than that, Enbridge, yeah, I mean, these aren't major movers here. So we'll focus elsewhere maybe for right now, but a good call there by Obi, of course, because that is something that we look at consistently into the close. You talked about MSCI rebalancing and things like that. Eventually going to hit this market later on this week. And we'll talk more and more about it come Friday when the MSCI imbalances hit the market. And there's Enbridge, nice move to the downside. Wow. Okay, another Canadian name getting hit there, gas pipeline name. What's up with Oracle? This name's been pretty dramatic, right? I mean, one way or the other here.
Bit of an AI player. Right?
Yeah, exactly. A little bit of a move down. They're up 1.5% today, so relatively strong. Goes Oracle. Weren't they part of not Stargate? It was Stargate, right? Yeah.
Yes.
So something there. They had a nice move up there into the 185 zone. Tried to take out right before earnings that 195. They did wind up going the other way, then boom to the upside. So trying to catch a bid here looks interesting anyways as we look at Oracle up 1.5%. Look for some relative strength in this name possibly tomorrow, taking out this level 171. I like that trade for Oracle. Bouncing again, good level. Get rid of this garbage. We'll see if it could take 171 tomorrow for ORCL. Again, tonight, earnings plays, right? And we had sort of looked at those. Big ones, where are we going, is HIMS. So that's been absolutely rocketing. Of course, this online kind of health situation here where I guess you can get prescriptions. Huge move to the upside. Now came right back in real aggressively over the last couple of days. So watch out for this name off earnings. I feel like this is one of the more expected movers there tonight as we get it. TEM Tempest is a big one there. We talked about Miss Pelosi being involved in this one as well. So that's had a huge move. It's implied move right now, 16% tonight. I'm trying to find HIMS. HIMS is 21% implied move, Obi. So that would get a reaction right there.
I was like, is this a trick question?
From that one. So that could be a big mover there. Tempest AI and HIMS. Zoom 6%, 9% actually. And then we looked at Riot, right? Like we wanted to see what was going on with Riot blockchain because they're also going to be reporting here tonight. And you know, that's had a quite aggressive move as well, as we've wondered often, like, kind of like, what's up with that? Like, why is Bitcoin kind of holding out okay? And some of these names like Mara and Riot Blockchain continue to test some of these bottoms. So just be careful with this. $10 marker. Wow. If I don't know, right? If there's going to be a beat or something here for this name, you could get a huge bounce on RIOT, Riot, because you're right down into the 200 period moving average. Although we've bounced off there, if you get a bump up there, that's your 20%. So I always say to myself, what is the short flow? We did this with B. Riley, and we're able to make some, see, look at that. Wow, this page has B. Riley up. So that shows you the last time we were here on Thursday, we had used this to look up the B. Riley. So RIOT right here, it's short flow. There it is, man, 20%. So yeah, I think the risk is to the puts, like the calls. I'd rather be in the calls. I think the risk to the upside here on a better than expected report there, 20% short float. Watch out for Riot tonight. We could get into that $12 area. I don't mind RIOT if you're looking for something there as a play for earnings. Riot long, take a shot.
Yeah, no, I definitely, again, I'm watching some of those names for earnings. But yeah, the miners tend not to necessarily follow the Bitcoin and some of the other cryptos as well. Again, I'm sure there's people can come up with multiple sound reasons as to why or why not. But the thing is, if you want to look for something that aligns a little bit more with Bitcoin, we see Joe trading it often, IBIT,
course, right.
maybe MSTR as well, because pretty much all they do is hold Bitcoin. So maybe that's reflective, a little more reflective of their price at times. But even that can have mispricing events, as we've seen in the past year, especially on MSTR, right? IBIT not as much because it's an ETF. But something a little speculative like MSTR can definitely have those outlier days where there might be some mispricing going on. So again, lots of opportunity in the Bitcoin space, but I think that I don't really see too much on Mara Riot as of recent.
Okay.
Haven't really had eyes on. To be honest,
your charts were going into that zone with any of them. If you had the charted levels, or
so we can take a look at Mara here. Take a. I think I had my Mara chart charted. I got to make sure on this other screen here.
It's okay. Amazon did drop off. We'll let them load it up, and if there's nothing there, there's nothing there. Just all right. So 214.60 there. Amazon did spike up, and again, we want to thank eSignal. Again, man, it's not up there right now. We have Trade Ideas, actually kind of a competitor there. But at the end of the day, this trade scanner does give us some opportunities here to look at different names. So there you go. You got HIMS moving around right now. No surprise on SMCI, Palantir, Nvidia. What is INDS? That sometimes we just get names. Oh, Pacer Industrial. Yeah, so this is sometimes it doesn't show up, like no volume going up there as well. But Amazon right there, Google. Oh, Nubank there as well coming through. There's SMCI 52 and change. So we want to thank them for that. Right now, SMCI. So yeah, I can do that in a couple of seconds here for eSignal. But again, very interesting times when we would talk about earnings reports, because coming through today, some big ones. I'm excited for Home Depot. That's going to be a name that I'm excited for. But if you all do scan that QR code that you do see on your screen right now, then you can get involved with eSignal. And again, really, really like eSignal, like the space here to get reliable charting, right? We talk about how important that is. No matter who you're trading with, you want to get the best charts. Listen up, the first month is now free. Absolutely nothing wrong with taking it. We're waiving those fees. Trade smarter, not harder. Capitalize on what I believe to be the best trading platform right there with infinite data and instant trading. Connects to over 50 plus brokers right now with the best back testing in the business. I use it all the time. You can do tick replays. You sit right down here, you can replay the whole day real quick. I know you, Obi, you're a big proponent of doing that. Yep. Not just replaying it, but at least looking at the day, figuring out what one of your levels hit, what didn't. Yep. I believe in eSignal, one of the strongest products out there. So definitely scan that QR code below. Develop your trading systems today by the help and use of eSignal. So definitely go grab that. Signal again for helping us with this segment of the show. So yeah, man, that's that's a little bit of a talk there. SMCI nearing that $52 mark again, looking like it wants to come into that downside.
Imbalances.
Oh, the imbalances. So there you go.
The alarm that I have on for imbalance.
There you go. So like, see, I mean, alive right there. But that's nothing to be ashamed of there. His phone just dinged off, just saying that the imbalances were coming in 10 minutes or 8 minutes or so to have a look at them. Yep. You need those little reminders, man.
Yeah, of course.
We're going to do a video about the setups that we have. And part of that is what it is. It's like, if you don't have those imbalance locators up, then sometimes it's out of your mind, right? And you're not looking at it, then you miss those opopportunities. So
and I've made that mistake in the past, right?
Well,
that's why I was like, solution to that, throw up an alarm. It's simple. It's it's not necessarily intrusive. You just turn it off. You're like, a reminder of a thing. And I said this a couple times last week as well. Multiple times I found myself not at my desk, maybe in the kitchen or maybe out for a walk, and maybe I've kind of lost in the sauce. Don't remember what the time is, and
hopefully not that.
There have been opportunities where I've missed trades on going into the last 15, 20 minutes because I wasn't at my desk. So I'm like, well, easy fix. Just remind yourself to get back to your desk. And been doing much better with that, but yeah.
I think building
90 on
Joe, I believe. Well, it doesn't matter. We all talk about it, especially these two guys. Building good habits will result, and whether or not it means like I was saying, I didn't head out, so I went on like about a 30-minute walk today. I'm just trying to get back into it before I get back into that pool and start to lift some weights a little bit again. But it does help clear that mind, whether or not you do it pre-market, anytime, if you have time. It doesn't have to be, working out or exercise or anything like that, but whatever it might be, some people choose. I've seen you over there meditating a little bit or, breathing exercises, things like that, because honestly, this is something that no matter what you do, take some time for yourself.
No, I think that's very important, Sean. We were talking about this a little earlier. It's just like, survivability is a big part of this game, and you have to be able to take a beating and get back up. That's kind
of like marriage.
What you have to.
Is she watching?
Oh boy,
cut that.
Well, I don't know too much about that.
Rewind.
90 on Palantir.
Are we live yet? By the way,
I don't know.
Okay, hopefully not. Ooh.
Well, we'll see. But definitely something to remember, and meditation definitely helps. Like losing necessarily is not here comes day low on Palantir, 89 to 70 here as of right now. So I already have it pulled up on my chart as the Palantir cracks through that 90 level. Let's see if day low breaks. Again, 89.30 is that day low, and we're coming in a little bit there into some of those day lows. But 90 catching a bit of a bid. I'm going to stay a little patient here, but continuation nonetheless happening on Palantir in the last 30 minutes. So I don't know if it's going to break that low a day, but that short off of VWAP consolidation was quite nice. But yeah, going back to the topic, I think meditation definitely helps me kind of zone back in, kind of calm down, because trading is definitely it can be mentally exhausting, and over time you learn how to take the punches, and you learn how to roll with the punches as well, and maybe start to throw some punches of your own.
Yeah, no, exactly. And I think it teaches you about that, right? It gets you understanding your strengths and some of your weaknesses, and just be able to focus a little bit more. We know, high pressure athletes, same type of thing, right? I mean, they're in there, they're getting ready before the game, and they have their little routines. And I think it's just as important that we have them here as traders as well. All right, so a little bit of an out there at 24.35 for Intel. Just not wanting to bleed this through too much. I was going to stop out there. Again, even though it's a smaller piece, we don't have to worry too much about it. As there goes the market. The biggest advice that I had given earlier was we're only, I'm trying to stay away from some of these longs today in the afternoon, as we were underneath VWAP, underneath the 50 period, and now continue to get lower here into the close. So there goes the ES. Just trying to look at IBIT as a tool for Bitcoin, and it's kind of just holding out, right? So I think that there's some relative strength here. As the market goes to the downside, you can see right here, crypto trying to hold out. So that could be something to look at as far as strength maybe coming for crypto. IBIT's, you're at levels where you're looking to break lower. We talked about that 93 area, 92 level for IBIT, and then, for Bitcoin, and also looking at 88s or so. So that could be the next little leg down. But for right now, I feel like at least in this afternoon, you're going to go out here maybe at afternoon highs on crypto, while you're definitely not going out at any highs in the market. So we'll wait to see if IBIT can pick it up. Did SMR bounce a little bit at least? So I like SMR and Oklo down here at some of these levels. We did a little bit of talk there. Let's Go in the chat said thank you to me, I guess, for reminding them about Oracle, that they wanted to pick some up down there. And I think that that's all that you can really do, is look for some opportunities to pick some stock up. Oh, wow. Rivian, forgot to talk about this. I came in here looking short on Rivian. I think most of us did, right? And Rivian today didn't give the longs too much to celebrate, it doesn't look like anyways, as you could see here, down 7 and a bit %, but it was really violent right off the open. So I think to take anything away from some of these markets that we continue to see here every day is that no matter what, the open gets really going, and that was a nice move. A little sleepy here into the rest of the day, but I still do like this play. Again, like Rivian for the long, in and around $10, but we got to get there. That could be the bottom for Rivian, somewhere around here. But wow, what a haircut. I know Neil was long in and around here. I think he said he got out. Again, he's not here right now, but he did say he got triggered out, so I don't know the price. But at the end of the day, Rivian, if you didn't get out up there, then now you're kind of like, So I feel the same way about some of those nuclear names where you didn't get out at the top. I never had too much faith in some of these EV plays. We talked about Polestar there holding. Is that still above $1? Yeah, okay, so that's good. Like, as long as some of these names are still hold. I saw the Polestar. I was at Sherway over the weekend. They had the Polestar. Yeah, they had the 3 out. Was that the new one? The 3? 2, 3, and 4 now they have too as well. Yeah, fine. It's just you know, when you're looking at the 3, I think it was the guy was in at 105 or something like that. So it's just a lot of money. That's what I'm saying. Like, you know, if you can afford these things, then fine. But not everybody playing in that same sandbox, which is why I think that the Model 3 and whatnot still remains something to look at as far as value and all that, resale value as well. So we'll take a look at that Model 3. I'm excited for Tesla to come out with their little robo-taxis. I think that'll be really cool to start to see those flying around there,
Oh boy.
Going around.
Not yet, Sean.
Not yet, but I was going to say that's probably next. So we'll wait to see there. With only a minute left, any quick ideas before we get these imbalances?
No, I'm starting to cover little pieces of this WBA here. Going into the close. So yeah, we'll see what we have on watch. Only about a minute or less than a minute left here, about 45 seconds left here until some of these imbalances come out. But yeah, like I said, watching that Palantir, watching that Tesla, watching WBA as well, kind of bidding up all day, taking a little bit of a pullback as of right now underneath that $11 mark. What else did we have on watch? Throw it up in the chat. Are you guys watching anything interesting on going into the close? Again, only about less than 10 minutes or about 10 minutes left in the trading day before we hear that bell. So I want to take a look at some of those as well, potentially. But other than that, maybe Google. Google's also near day lows, Sean. So that could be something.
Okay, so here we go. Yeah, we're going to get rid of the broker feed here and see what's going on with these NASDAQ imbalances. So, all right. LESL, so this could be some sort of a delist or something, with a 8 million share sell right now. So this name getting hit right here with a lot of volume coming through. Google, there you go, man. You just nailed it. I mean, sometimes they're here for reasons, right? And it looks like there is one here for Google. Nice move to the downside there. As you're talking about it getting near the low of the day, it comes as a sell. Intel, we're long. Nice little bid. I don't know, man. I might just get out of this one. We've been in it literally all day. I'm going to offer it here at 37s. If we can get it, great. Amazon, we did talk about that. Oh, is Beyond Meat tonight as well?
Yeah.
Okay, so good one there. Just hearing into my ear, Beyond Meat coming through later on. There's Amazon, man. If we were going to take anything, that was right there at VWAP. We talked about some names coming back into VWAP, possible sell candidates. Looks like we would have got that with Amazon right there at 215 or so. So that looks like a good one to the downside as well. Was that a call for Adara? Okay, let's go.
I just wanted to clarify Beyond Meat earnings. Everywhere I have seen, it says they're going to be on Wednesday after the close. So BYND reporting alongside a murderous row of earnings names. We have Nvidia, we have CRM, we have also C3AI, and we're going to have Snowflake as well as BYND. Again, that is going to be an earnings name for Wednesday after the bell, according to everything I've seen. Back to you.
Yeah, I mean, I knew it was on the list, but the guy here on Benzinga did mention it. So, all right, so that'd be cool. I think it'll be awesome. What's up, Fabian, my guy? Yes, sir. Always a big shout out. Thank you.
That board looks solid. That looks pretty cool, eh?
How's it going, stream?
He's
Can
at
you hear
the.
me?
Oh, can they hear him?
Yeah,
Can you guys?
We would like to know if you could hear him over there. But there.
You guys heard me, they heard me.
Okay, perfect.
all
Then
right.
yeah, we
That's
hear
sick.
you, and so do they. So there you go. Yeah, Fabian, you're a Bitcoin guy, right? Let's give a thumbs up for that, or not, or he's gone. Yeah, there it is. All right. You know, basically, if age under 30, insert thumbs up. I mean, I think that's what most traders these days, if you are of that ilk, like watch this, Obi, thumbs up for Bitcoin. There you go. But I mean, look, I just turned 32, so I am also thumbs up there for Bitcoin. Yeah, that might have been 10 plus years ago, but at the end of the day, yeah, we like
Bitcoin was around then.
Yeah. I was telling you, man, Neil and I literally, like, we have a friend that made in the hundreds of M's off of Ethereum, and we had talked about that because Vitalik was here as that coin was being minted. And unbelievable. Went to University of, I think it was Waterloo. So shout out to that school and to anybody that was able to get in early on that one. But okay, yeah. So
what was the first? So you heard about it at ICO, right? I think my first exposure to it was in and around like $50 on
yeah,
ETH.
unbelievable.
Yeah.
I think you know what scared a lot of people early was that Mt. Gox.
Yep.
Because that got hacked, and then it was like, okay, now we're uncertain about the sort of the security of it all, right? And then cold storage became a thing that people were talking about that started using, and that gave some more confidence that you're not on exchange somewhere.
Right.
And I think they've recovered a lot of that, but that was part of the problem there. And of course, Bitcoin, with all the dealings that I had on the Silk Road. Those were, used to push around funds over there as well for illicit opportunities.
Do you think there is an entire
Is this
crypto,
live?
Yes.
Okay.
Do you think there's an entire crypto market cap EFT instead of a Bitcoin-centered one or an altcoin-centered one?
Okay.
I've already talked about, I've talked about this on the air, Fabian. I thought that there's
working. I can't be focusing on the show all the time.
Right. Work, right. Yeah. So the thing is that, no. So I thought it would be really cool, Fabian, if they had like a top 20 or so ETF for all of the coins, and I don't know if it exists. It probably does, and I think that would be really cool. And then just kind of like the S&P 500,
right?
Like maybe 20 is too much, but once you get through a certain market cap, whatever, you get added or removed to it, and that would give traders an opportunity to do that. Or I feel like it's hard to manage it yourself. And I just wonder that because of the volatility of some of the crypto, like what would the expense fee be on the management fee on something like that? Probably a little high. So I don't know if that's something that we all want to be involved with or not. But great question, and something that I've talked about many times here, where I thought it would be real cool to get an ETF that at least tracked the top. Even the top 10 would be really cool. Get some Solana in there. And by the way, Kanye. So I just want to tell everybody. Kanye, just like some of the other scams that have been happening with rug pulls and stuff like that, he sold, there's rumors going on that he had sold his Twitter account. I believe he did. So they're going to rug pull a Yay coin coming up very, very soon. So just be careful with that. I don't know if you're hearing it from me first or not. Do not invest in any kind of a Kanye coin. I mean, it's up to you guys if you want to do whatever you want. But apparently, they're using that account right now to get it going. There could be a Yay coin coming very, very soon. And so just watch out for the pull on the rug there. I did get out there with only 5 minutes left. Get ready for, again, what's going to be an amazing aftermarket show with Sharif and Adara. They're going to go over all the reports here, and it's going to be a big one. We did get out of Intel right there, so that was a good trade to end it off. We'll finish today at the highest spot we've been at. We really turned it around with Nvidia today. That was a huge trade there. And look at these outs, man. Like right back into the day's low. Always, man, have your wrist stops so you don't have to worry about this. Like out there at the top. If you're looking for shorts, it was clear as day. We did warn about Tesla, talked about watching out for those longs as well. You were underneath VWAP. We didn't like that one. So if you've learned nothing from me, which probably many of you, it's just that watch out for this near the end of the day. In the last couple hours, if you're underneath VWAP and underneath the 50-period moving averages, stay away. The market can bleed nonstop. There's no buyers coming in right now to buy. I can't really find a bull case. Well, hopefully we'll get one on Wednesday. But we talked about, and I thought, you know what, I thought gold was actually down a little bit today as well. When I had looked, we had talked about, okay, now gold, see the rally in gold. Right, so gold was down, nice little rally there at the end of the day. So sort of going oppo, right? So oppo, what the market was doing here in equities, gold making a nice little upside move. We talked about it. I think there's a place in everybody's portfolio for that. Man, like I said to the wife, like I'm going to be talking a lot today. I don't know how we're going to be panning out, but we stayed pretty good. So so far so good there.
Yeah, no, we were talking about gold just last week when Melania was here in the studio, and yeah, we were talking about gold all-time highs. Absolutely crazy. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's definitely in interest. I think recently they were like, oh, let's go check out Fort Knox. Did you hear about this? They're going to go check out some of the gold reserves in Fort Knox. I think Doge is might be on that right now. I was reading about stuff in the morning about something about gold. People withdrawing gold in Europe. As well. So,
is there a run on banks over there or something like that?
I don't know. Things are starting to seem a little interesting here. Yeah. But, gold a little bit of a bid here on gold over the past couple of I'd say past couple of years at least. I mean, it's another example of maybe stonks only go up, but it's had downtrends. It's had significant downtrends in the past as well.
Well, it's nice. It finally started. I mean, gold, for the gold bugs out there, it finally did start to run. So I know there's a lot of people excited about some of the gold plays as of recent, and we did jump on board with some of those gold plays. So that turned out to be a decent one. Okay, with only 2 minutes left, let's just check out quickly some of these. Yeah, the market's at the lows. Yeah, oh boy, yeah, that was a big move to the downside here. Palantir catches a bid right now, so we'll see if that is doing anything right there. But yeah, the market goes out on the lows. You never want to see the market going out on lows. We had talked about this earlier, 522, that needed to hold, and that's not doing it right now. Look at this next leg down, right? So yeah, not a great time, in my opinion, to be dip buying right now. Normally, if you're playing the longer game, I hate talking about, like, I'm just leaving these all to my kids. And I know Neil says that, and I say that all the time often too, but it doesn't mean that you can't be responsible. I mean, leaving something to your kids is one thing, but actually trading out when you do see some concern there. And I just think that right now, this is a huge drop there in the last hour of the market, giving it all back. So a little bit disappointed here in what's been happening as we go out on the day's lows here. So not great. I mean, I'm probably looking at a stock like Nvidia coming out at its lows. Not great. My prediction is, though, Nvidia does look near all-time highs. But, I mean, I don't have a look on that number. So they wind up missing. This market could be in for a world of hurt, Obi, if we do wind up missing on that. So, all right, man, with only 20 seconds to go right now in the market. We have now next to 10. Daryl will be ringing the bell. We want to thank everybody for watching. And as the countdown goes on right now, this countdown, of course, brought to you by Foremost Clean Energy. Scan that QR code below. FMST. My clock must be way off.
That was pretty, that was on.
Okay, so hers was on. Okay. That happened to me this morning, too, by the way.
I saw it,
so I'll have to refresh my clock on my computer. So, okay, going through there. All right, thanks, Adara, for hitting that one. Low of the day on SPY, low of the day on NASDAQ. Not great when we go out like that. All right, Obi, I'm not going to take for too much longer because there's a big couple reports coming through that we want to get to. So thank you for coming through. Be on standby tomorrow. I don't know, man. Mr. Heart Rate he'll let us know how he's feeling. Hopefully he's feeling better. We'll see if he can avoid it. But right now, okay, Obi. Thank you so much. Best of luck with anything that you're looking at in all your studies there tonight. We'll see if we can get you on there tomorrow. So, all right. Thank you to everybody, man. Thank you to Big Joe. Great to have you back. Thanks to Sharif and Adara for doing this after show. Fabian, you just saw him, man, that handsome devil. Thank you so much for that. Ramin, thanks for all the work in the midday and everything that you're doing. Brendan's all right. He's back there. Thanks, Brendo, for everything as well. Andre, the man, the myth, the legend that we don't know enough about, but we saw him last week as well. We'll talk to Andre more as it goes. Thank you to Bears vs. Bulls, and thank you to everybody over there. Now, time for the best of us. It's Sharif and Adara on the recap show. Ciao.
Nice.
Welcome everyone to the Market Recap Show. Glad to have you. We've got a whole bunch of stuff for earnings. Adira, I think we already have Tempest AI reporting. It's zigging and zagging right now. Big move up into $74, 6 6/3%. I think we closed out something like $70. We're already up into $72.60. So here's the deal with Tempest AI, baby. I still haven't seen the news blotter show me anything. There we go, Adira. Now we got it. Okay, so let me know when you have those numbers in, because here's what we're expecting, guys. 20 cents loss per share on revenue of $203 million. Did we beat, miss, or in line, Adira?
So I'm seeing quarterly revenue here of $200.7 million. So that would be a miss. It is worth noting, though, sometimes the numbers that we get for estimates are not always going to align with the ones that the market is using. So I don't like to be too hardline about it. Right now, it looks like they might have missed, but it did grow by 35.8% year over year. So that's not bad. Specifically, their genomics revenue apparently accelerated 30.6% year over year. So that looks like some good growth as well. Net loss here, let's see what this is per share. I'm seeing net loss total of $13 million, but I'm not seeing what that was on a per share basis. Their annual revenue grew by 30.4% year over year. And their genomics, which apparently is a huge good segment for them because they mentioned this a couple times, genomics revenue increasing 24.4% year over year for the fiscal year. So revenue up year over year for both the quarter and the fiscal year, but quarterly revenue possibly below estimates.
All right, Diamondback Energy as well, Adira. We're waiting for this one. FANG reporting at 4 o'clock. It's already zigging. It's already zagging. Already popped up into 156, dropping down into 150. Adira, I've got here the expectations for FANG. Let's bring that in and show everybody. EPS of $3.38 on revenue of $3.5 billion. Adira, how did we do?
So what we got here was, let me get this revenue out. So their revenue for, this is interesting. They report this in kind of a different way. Some places do not necessarily put revenue first and foremost. They have their total 2024 cash return first. That's $694 million. Apparently, that's roughly 51% of their adjusted free cash flow. But what about your revenue, guys? Yeah, I'm seeing their net cash provided by operating activities, $2.3 billion. Are you seeing their revenue?
Yes, I got revenue, Adira, of $3.71 billion, beating the street's expectations of $3.55 RAM on EPS of $3.64, beating the street's expectations of $3.38. So it's a beat on the top and bottom line. But as we always talk about, I mean, it really comes down to that guide, and we're still undecided here. The price action is doing bupkis in the aftermarket, down 0.56.
I do have more in Tempest too that I'd like to give. So as I said, I thought we probably missed on revenue. We did miss on revenue. So that was, they reported revenue of $200.7 million, as we said, but the analyst estimates that we're now seeing here were $202.94 million. So that would be a miss. But again, it is up about 36% year over year. Their adjusted earnings, they reported losses of 18 cents per share. They were expecting losses of 17 cents per share, so slightly larger than expected loss per share. Now, their guide, though, actually was stronger than expected, quite significantly so. $1.24 billion for Tempest's guide versus $1.048 billion expected. That would be for their revenue, and that also would represent a 79% year-over-year increase for revenue, Sharif. So Tempest guiding well and above what we expected for their revenue for fiscal 2025. Though their adjusted EBITDA apparently a little bit down for last year.
All right, we're also waiting on Cleveland Cliffs. Coming fast and furious here, baby. We're waiting for that 405. It is 405 now, so we'll be expecting that momentarily. But here is what the numbers are in terms of expectations for Cleveland Cliffs. HIMS is out. We'll get that in 1 second. $4.31 billion in revenue is the expectations for Cleveland, with earnings per share supposed to be about 64-cent loss, so not earnings at all. Earnings ESP about 2.8 minus 2.81, indicating a low probability of an earnings beat. So I'm still waiting for the number out on that. But HIMS up already 1.5%. How do we do there, Adira?
So I think, the way they do this, they kind of have like a table where they compare all of their numbers. So monthly online revenue per average subscriber, I guess their version of ARPU, is up. Their subscribers for the end of the quarter and the year are up. In terms of their revenue, let's get into it. So total revenue, $481,000. Oh, this has got to be in Okay, in thousands. So 481,139 versus 246 expected. That's, or previous, that's 95% year over year, but I'm wondering why it's in thousands. Okay, here we go. So 481 million for the quarter. That's weird. They had a typo in their report.
Don't get me started about how bad these.
I'm sorry about that. Yeah, guys, there was a typo in HIMS' report, and that's their official report. So they said it was in thousands. It was actually in millions. 481 million for Q4 2024. That is up 95% year over year. Gross margin 77%, so that actually contracted a little bit from Q4 2023. Net income up quite significantly on a year-over-year basis as well.
So it looks like it was an in-line expectations, 11 cents per share. Telehealth continued recorded net income of $25.5 million on 11 cents per share. The street was looking for the consensus EPS was 11 cents per share on revenue of $470 million. They printed revenue of $470.3 million. So am I seeing that correctly, or that was the expectation of $470.3? So it was an EPS in line. They put some profits there, $25 million profit, so not a bad look, $25.5 million profit. Let's see how the stock is doing. Not being met well here. They're down 7.5% in the aftermarket, so we'll have to keep an eye on to see what the deal is with, we're talking about HIMS here,
yes,
with respect to the guide, because that always seems to be one of those wild cards that we don't really have right away, and the market deciphers that and sends it down. Just to give you an idea, the low of the day today, the worst we did on the day was 43.81. We're dropping into 45 right now. We moved up aggressively to close into 52.72. That was the high of the day. The spike took us up to 55, but we're already moving down.
Yeah, I don't know if anyone's going to be singing hymns about that report. We know also
up for that.
We had an acquisition as well that they announced on Friday, which led to a little bit of volatility on the stock. I know Sharif mentioned that on the chart today, but also another earnings report I think we should talk about is Chegg, because you knew where I was getting there, Sharif. Total revenue here for Q4 2024 down 24% year over year, came in at $143.5 million. Their subscription services revenue also decreased 23% year over year. Net loss of $6.1 million. That's obviously not per share. That's just total for the quarter. Non-GAAP net income of $19 million. Adjusted EBITDA of $36.6 million. And their total subscribers actually decreased by 21%. But in terms of subscriber earnings, you know, Sharif, the one I'm really excited about, Duolingo, your Ramit's favorite. Actually, that comes out on Thursday after the bell. So just remember that with regards to subscribers. Yeah.
I know we got Michael Noss, but I have to cover this. A pandemic play that a lot of people know about. We got Zoom here. It looks like it missed here, Dara. We're down 6% more in the aftermarket here. We closed out at around $82.50, or sorry, a little bit below that, $81. $82.50 was the previous day's close. In terms of expectations for Zoom, why don't I have it? Okay, it looks like I missed that one. We were looking for revenue of $1.18 billion on EPS of $1.35. How did we do?
Yes, we got $1.184 billion. So that looks like it's a slight beat, more or less in line. It's up 3.3% year over year. Their Q4 enterprise revenue up 5.9% year over year. Operating cash flow up 21% year over year. Their full fiscal year operating cash flow up also 21%. And then their fiscal year operating cash flow margin up 42% year over year. I'm not really seeing any decreases here. And like I said, at the very least, they're in line with revenue. But I always like to exercise caution, because sometimes the estimates we see are going to be different, because all analysts are going to have slightly different interpretations. And a lot of times these numbers change literally heading into the report.
Oh, yeah. All right. I think we got Michael Noss. The little what? The button, the trader talk? Hey, okay. It wouldn't be an appropriate entry unless I did that for Michael. So
absolutely.
How you doing, Michael? How's it going on over there?
It's going fantastic. This market is nothing but interesting. So
yeah, I'm I was going to say a different word. I was going to use a different word. You used interesting. I was going to use another word, which I won't use. Interesting day, though, to be fair, on the market, Michael. We closed out, or sorry, Thursday was a record day for the ES. We got into all-time highs. Friday brought a lot of blood. It was really kind of unexplained there. We didn't really hear much in the way of tariffs or anything novel that would, justify that precipitous move to the downside. Mm-hmm. My suspicion was, and I don't know how you feel about this, reaching those all-time highs really does, elicit profit taking. How did you read that?
Yeah. Yeah, I was the same way. I think the market was looking for any excuse to take profits. I came on here, I remember in the beginning of January, and said, hey, year 3 of a bull market, it's usually a choppy year, and that's exactly what we're seeing. And a lot of people don't remember, so we can go back here on the chart, but a lot of people don't remember the first term when it came to Trump's first term, and there ain't nothing political here, but this was the market then. This is a weekly chart of the market, in 2018 all the way to 2020. You had this chop and a high volatility chop all throughout that period of time. So I don't expect anything different this time. Beauty of it is that we've seen all this before. We've seen the tweets shifting around the market. We've seen this market kind of consolidate sideways. And if you look, this was actually year 3 of a bull market. So 2016 and then 17 and then up to 18. And then that year 3 of a bull market was very choppy. So I'm kind of looking at this as the same way, where you have 23, 24, and then now you're into 25. I wouldn't be surprised to see that chop as well. So when we get to highs, it's going to be one of those things, I think, where the market's going to want an excuse to sell. And then when we get back to lows, it's going to want an excuse to buy and kind of rinse and repeat.
Which is not a bad thing. At least it gives you a prediction. It's not such a bad thing. It gives you a predictable setup off which to work. I mean, it's not ideal. Obviously, everybody wants to wake up in the morning, see their personal account up and to the right, but I don't know how realistic that is on a continuous basis. Michael, I want to bring a different little look to your attention. Gold continues to work near all-time highs at the same time that we're either a little consolidative on Bitcoin, or we're kind of making lower lows and lower highs, at least in that consolidative range that we've been in, that 90 to 100,000 range. Gold, not so much. Gold continues to put in higher lows. What's your look there, Michael?
So full disclosure, right? I've been a bit of a gold bug ever since we broke out of this cup and handle that I was talking about for ages. This is like a 12-year cup and handle. And we ended up breaking out there. We exceeded the profit target of the cup and handle. But this is interesting for people who don't trade commodities quite often. And it's the fact that commodities can have these super cycle trends in which they just break out and continue to frustrate bears that are fading the top. Easy thing to look at, just to show currently, is cocoa, right? If you take a look at not the cocoa company, but yeah, the cash contract, right? This had this insane move from 3,000 a contract all the way up to 12,000 a contract in a straight line. So it is very common for commodities to do this kind of push. Now, so I don't really look at this as so much as a flight to safety or anything like that. I just look at it as it's the continuation of this potential move. Where it ends, I have absolutely no idea. 2,500 or so was my target. Now we're almost up to 3,000. So I think you just have to continue to bet on higher prices and kind of stand out of the way. Definitely not kind of short this thing. Eventually, all these commodities end up cracking and coming back down, but I have just no idea when. This thing just continues to march higher. So I don't really, again, see this as people running for the fences, because it had been breaking out long before that. It's actually been participating in the bull market for 2023 and 2024. So I just look at this as a continuation of an already existing and an incredibly strong trend.
And you just touched on something there that I want to double click on a little bit. You said commodities tend to do this. And so when I read TA books, Michael, basically the gist of it is once you get into that trend with these commodities, they can become quite sustained, both to the top side and the downside. Anybody who was in nat gas for the last couple of years knows exactly just that. What is it, without really, going into a ridiculous amount of detail here, what is it specific about commodities that tends to do that?
I think it has a lot to do with the lack of ability to have market making in commodities, if that makes sense, where there is a moment where you can obviously tell with a company like Zoom or Peloton when they're going crazy that it's a little overdone, right? And for a while there, I think Zoom was worth more than ExxonMobil. And at this moment, there's a bunch of contracts and there's a bunch of different ways that you can actually short this particular instrument. But when it comes to shorting even the futures contracts in these commodities, there's rollover fees. There's all kinds of fees associated with actually trading these contracts. So I think that might be a lot of it, is just the inability to take the other side. Same thing that we saw when it came to a couple initial Bitcoin surges, is that when you can't short something, because at least in the beginning of Bitcoin, it was very hard to short, that becomes a very hard instrument, I guess, to create some sort of a market on it. So I see this happening a lot. The other thing is that it can be some sort of, I think cocoa is probably a better example of this, where can be a fundamental kind of shift. In this case, I think it was weather related or whatever that was that caused that breakout in 2023. So when you're talking about something as large as gold, again, it becomes a lot harder for short sellers to come in and say, okay, things have gone a little bit too much. I'm going to balance the market, because you're talking a market that spans countries and continents and the whole 9 yards. When it's one security that's getting a little bit too wacky, it becomes a lot easier for large institutions to kind of play that arbitrage and take that other side.
Thank you so much for being here with us, Michael, today. And one name that we're still waiting for, I think the last name we're waiting for to report right now is RIOT, of course, a crypto-related name. Then we'll get Marathon Digital coming through after the bell on Wednesday with their earnings. MSTR has been pretty weak lately as well. So with that in mind, are there any crypto assets or crypto-related stocks that you are watching right now?
I think you have to go to profit, right? And again, you're talking to a technician here, someone who's not a fundamental analyst, but as someone who worked in a crypto miner for a long period of time, I know it's a rough business. It's a very expensive business. It's very capital intensive. It's very labor intensive. You have to, you have to power these things. You have to cool them. It's a hard business. And most of these companies lose money over time. So when it comes to something like MSTR, this is going to be a great vehicle until the moment that the Ponzi scheme ends. Because, it is... If you go in and you look at what he's doing, it is very Ponzi scheme, very pyramid scheme-esque. And at some point, that's going to blow up, and it's going to bring the whole crypto market down with it. It's probably going to be a great buying opportunity when it happens. But if I'm going to trade individual securities, it's either going to be the ETFs, it's going to be the currency itself, because they're going to watch them, or they're going to mirror them a little bit closer, because they don't have that drag of losing money quarter after quarter. Whereas before, with things like Mara, before there was ETFs, before there was ways to trade it, these were the only ways to get exposure. So Hood, I think, is a great name. Full disclosure, I bought some of this today on this pullback. And the reason I really like Hood, or Robinhood, is that if we have a big surge in crypto, you're going to get that benefit in Robinhood, because they're one of the main ways that people trade these cryptocurrencies in the US. But its core business is actually doing well as well. So even though Bitcoin hasn't moved, Robinhood's actually been doing pretty great here. So I think that's one great way to trade it. They make money. They've got a bunch of other businesses. Then the other bet, I think, is just Coinbase, right? It's not looking fantastic here, but it's got this giant cup style, and it from the long-term chart, it looks okay. This is another one that at least it doesn't have that capital intensive, that labor intensive problem that when it comes to Mara and it comes to a lot of these other names that they do have, where you're owning Bitcoin, but you're owning Bitcoin that loses money every quarter. Especially in a world now where you could just own Bitcoin or own the ETF. So true. It doesn't really make as much sense to me to own these money-losing names, just to get a little bit of leverage on the coin itself.
All right, Michael, thanks for coming on. Really appreciate it. Always insightful. And hopefully we'll see you on Friday.
All right, we'll see you guys Friday.
Take care.
Thank you.
See ya.
All right, guys, we are still waiting for RIOT blockchain, or RIOT platforms, excuse me, as they used to be called. Adara there, it's down 4%, but that was before the bell. Before the bell closed. We closed out right at that $10.04 area. It was supposed to report at 4:15, but we know how some of these earnings reports are. They can just be on their own timetable. Here is what we are expecting for a RIOT platform, is looking for earnings, or revenue, excuse me, of $134 million. Compare that to last year when they printed about a little bit less than 80 million, 78.8 earnings per share. We're looking for 11 cents positive, not a loss per share of 11 cents. We're actually looking for profitability this time around, 11 cents per share. Let me know when we do get that, because I don't see anything.
I'm waiting. I have it up on my Benzinga, but it's not quite out yet. I'm going to see what the social media versus saying about this, but I suspect there'll be a lot of people waiting on this report. No one in the chat, to my knowledge, has also mentioned this, so it looks like RIOT, we're just waiting on here.
Okay.
Yeah, in social media, I'm not seeing anything else either. People just waiting for this number. It's like when we had Meta all over again. Meta's supposed to report at 4:05, and then Meta reports at 4:45 or 4:40 or something. So that's what we got so far with RIOT. No numbers yet.
All right, the pandemic plays. Zoom, ZM, down 3.5%. It looks like as if it was the forecast here that kind of sent this down a little bit, a bit of a downbeat forecast of annual revenue below what the street was looking for, a sign of weak demand for its wide range of, different different tools there. Shares are down about 4% here in the aftermarket. Zoom expects fiscal 2026 revenue between 4.79 billion and 4.8 billion compared to the street's expectations there of a little bit higher of 4.81 billion. So not much of a miss, but definitely not a good look there as the street setting this one down. Tempest AI also reported that one came out right at 4 o'clock. We are down almost 10% here as we really take a bit of a hit. We're going on to that $60 area. Just to give you some context, we had a high today of 74.20. So this one decidedly in the red. Fang, Diamondback Energy, literally the only green stock right now on the watch list for these earnings plays. It's up 1.7%. Not much of a move there. This one also reported at 4 o'clock. Cleveland Cliffs. This one kind of flatted there, 0.09% in the negative. This one also reported. We'll give you an opportunity to talk a little bit about this one, but it was HIMS here that we had some color context. Did you want to add into anything?
Yeah, I think with HIMS, it is worth noting. Apparently, this is their 18th or 16th straight quarter of meeting or beating revenue estimates. So HIMS steady, I guess, growth in that way. They did report in-line earnings per share as sales beat, as evidenced by that last stat I just read for you guys. So 481.14 million versus 470.31 million. And their guidance also above estimates, 2.3 billion to 2.4 billion, well above estimates of 2.087 billion.
As well.
Yeah, so really great look there for HIMX. It's a color commentary I will add as of right now. We're still waiting here for RIOT. Cleveland Cliffs, I think we did discuss a little bit as well, but CLF certainly on watch too in a larger time frame with regards to X. Because U.S. Steel, Cleveland Cliffs has been wanting to buy U.S. Steel. U.S. Steel has made it emphatically clear they want Nippon, but Cleveland Cliffs has been trying to get involved. So CLF, I think, certainly one to watch every time you hear any catalyst with X. I think it's something to remind us all of as well. But Sharif,
yes,
we are 8 minutes late with RIOT earnings. And there's something, at this point, we're going to riot about the lack of earnings. Like, we can't be upset about the report because we don't have it yet.
What happened to no putting at the big desk?
It's the market recap.
Right? Yeah, it's a market recap show. Guys, no, seriously, we're keeping an eye out on RIOT, still waiting for any movement there. It has been kind of stagnant since we started the show, down into that $10 area, down 4.2% on the day. Yeah, some of the other earnings names, we had Chegg as well. Now, this one is kind of, yeah, it's a small capper. I mean, it's a $125 million market cap. It's $1.20. Here's what we were expecting in terms of earnings for Chegg, a revenue of $143 million, which would be about a 23.5% year-over-year increase on adjusted EPS of about 18 pennies. The revenue decline is accelerating a little bit here, 8.4%. Sorry, that revenue was of 143 million. That was supposed to be a negative year-over-year look of a drop of 23.5%. So it looks as if the market really making them pay there. With respect to things that went on the day, let's have a look over here exactly how we did with these Mag 7 names. Let's flip on over into our growth area. So in case you haven't been with us all day, let's have a look at how the Mag 7 did. So starting with Microsoft here, down 1% as we continue to get word that maybe CapEx for AI is not going to be as aggressive as we once thought. I know Satya Nadella came out midday, reaffirmed the $80 billion that he was looking at spending there. Didn't really change much in the way of the stock. Meta continues to take a hit. Adira down. Well, stop smiling. It's down 2.5% on the day, down well below $700, $667 after getting into that 740 area on the day. Google as well, marginally negative here. We lost about 0.5% on GOOGL. Not too much in the way there. Really no headlines that I saw. Amazon also got smacked today. Hey?
I just said yikes to the to that chart.
Amazon down 1.75% today. I didn't see any headlines specific on Amazon either. And not last but not least, but the Cybertruck today also getting creamed, 2.25% negative. This one had multiple headlines. Looks like we will get FSD in China sooner rather than later. We didn't really get much in the way of details there. My understanding was that the regulator out in China had been preventing Tesla from launching FSD as they hadn't done enough mapping, et cetera, et cetera. the logistics required there. We also got word that they're looking at hiring for their cybercab division. So they're hiring for multiple positions for that. In addition to that, they are going to redesign the Model S and the Model X to their two oldest models and their two most expensive models, depending on how you price the cybercab there. So those are the three headlines for Tesla. There could have been more. Apple was the only Mag 7 name that was positive on the day, believe it or not. This one actually moving up a little bit less than 1% there after we got word that they were going to spend $500 billion.
Yes, and someone in the chat, I like the eyebrow raise there, Sharif, at that $500 billion. I mean, I think it's worth noting we had a little bit of context on this. We know that Trump, it was reported first that Trump and Tim Cook, CEO of Apple, or Tim Apple, that they had met there as of Friday. Then Donald Trump confirmed this meeting, said Apple will be producing in the U.S., and then Monday morning, today, we get this record $500 billion investment note. So I think that's of note. There was a lot of context for this. Someone in the chat was asking, why is Apple going up as the market's going down? I mean, now it's had this Trump-related U.S. investment catalyst for 2 days straight. This is its second day of this catalyst, and technically a new catalyst because it got a new update. So I think that certainly helped it. Both days we have this market sell-off. Apple's like, oh, but wait here, I'm doing things in the U.S. with AI and with money. So I would maybe say that is what makes it distinctly different, to use an Obiism, from the rest of the Mag 7, because that investment is not small potatoes. And Oracle moved as well. I don't know if that's related because of their AI investment with Project Stargate, but I do think it's worth noting regardless.
Yeah, and it's interesting because I was talking about this on the midday show, the How to Trade show during the midday with Joe, and there was an interesting article that said, you know, this $500 billion, I should say, has already been earmarked by Apple for spend on AI. So it's not really novel spending. So a lot of questions had been asked whether or not that would put the kibosh on the share buyback program, as they'd have to reallocate money elsewhere. So if you are of the opinion, if you are of the belief, and we still haven't got this from the company confirming yet, that this money had already been earmarked and it should not put the kibosh on the share buyback program. One of the things that we do like about the company, obviously, so we'll keep tabs on that. Still waiting, Adair, for Riot platforms to report. We're not getting anything. Yep. I'm not getting anything on my blotter, nor are we getting anything price action wise. But let's just review what the earnings plays have been so far. We're still waiting on Riot, as I mentioned. Zoom zoomed to the downside there. Oh, sorry, that was bad, but yeah, I said it myself there. We closed at about 81.75. The stock price took a bit of a hit there, dropping below 77, trying to recover right now above 80. Chegg, we already covered. HIMS, kind of an interesting one there. We'll have to digest this a little bit more. It looked like it was a beat on the top and bottom line, as well as a beat on the guide, yet the stock sold off anyway. We're looking like we're going to hit $41 awfully soon, despite the fact that we hit that $55 area there on the algo spike there. Cleveland Cliffs, as well, as we mentioned, reporting, not really doing much, kind of like FANG there. Cleveland Cliffs down 0.44. Diamondback Energy, FANG up about 0.5%. But it is Tempest AI with a big move down here, 10.5%. They're expecting revenue for full year of 2025 to come in around $1.24 billion. That's a decided beat. The street was looking for a little bit higher than $1 billion on EBITDA of around $5 million. That'd be $110 million over the 2024 number, as they printed a negative number there. Do we have to do the shout-outs, right?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, we're just waiting here for Riot. I don't know if there's...
I don't know what's going on.
I don't know what's happening there. And guys, I'm sorry, we still do not have this. I'm not seeing anything on social media. Sharif mentions the stock's not reacting. But yeah, usually around now, we do the patented roll call, where we just yell at everybody and we do those shout-outs. But unfortunately, Riot, I guess, is not joining that party.
Well, that's okay. I mean, there's just like, it's not an Nvidia or anything like that.
No, we're a Meta.
So what we'll do is we'll hit that, and we're gonna do the roll call. All right, here we go. Who do we got? I can't see anything, Adair, so you're gonna have to do it.
Yeah, we'll start.
Signed out.
We've got Bears vs. Bulls. Thank you so much to everything you do. Huge, awesome community, and thank you so much for really just cultivating it and making it so awesome. Thank you to Sharif here. Thank you to, I'm just going to thank everybody. We got Sean, we had Neil, we had Obi step in, we had Joe, we had Fabian Ramin, Andre, we have Brendan, of course, and we've got Joseph Birch Music. We have Ryan Hamblin, we have Robert Liu, Walt Winchell, Mark Alborahout, Showtime 1, Bob Esther, Poopy Pants Hands, Poopy Paper Hands.
Right, so.
Joseph Brown. Oh, and we have Riot, so great.
There we go.
There we go. Thank you, Riot. Daryl Flynn, Celery 2, and we've also got RIOT. Apparently, total revenue, 376.7 million. That is up from 280.7 million this quarter last year. And it's also above estimates that I'm seeing of 129.3 million, though I wonder if those estimates are accurate. Just want to make sure. Their average cost to mine Bitcoin apparently is much higher. So it's now going to be 32,000 versus 3,000 last year. That's quite significant. But apparently that was primarily driven by a 53% decrease in power credits for fiscal 2024. So, I mean, the revenue, like I said, it looks like a beat, but we do not have all the details yet. Like I said, sometimes the analyst estimates are a bit different. Also, apparently Goldman's reaffirming a buy here on Microsoft just coming out now.
Sounds good. Okay, yeah, definitely getting that same number there. Here's what we were expecting for Riot, by the way. On the quarter, we were expecting revenue of $134 million. Previous quarter was about 78.81. We were looking for earnings per share, a positive earnings per share of 11 cents. I don't have the comp from the previous quarter there, but what I'm seeing vis-a-vis this article here coming in from the Dow Jones Institutional News is that we are looking at revenue here, Dara. Riot reports revenue of $376.7 million in total revenue and deployed hash rate of 31.5. Is that exahash? Exahash per second?
Yes, I believe that's correct. Yeah, that's to my knowledge.
I took a shot there. Why not? All right. They had a remarkable 2024. This report goes on to say on revenue, as I mentioned, of $376.7 million and net income. So it looks like they took home money this time around of a little bit less than $110 million, $109.5 million. They were noteworthy because Bitcoin's networks halving event in April obviously had a big effect on their ability to generate new Bitcoin, which is obviously how they make money here, guys. All right, we did the roll call.
We did.
We did Riot.
We did.
We're going to see everybody bright and early tomorrow morning at 8:30. Everybody has a good night.
Jason?